In the wilds of the chat where the trolls roam free, bots and troublemakers causing all the misery. But there's a fearless group ready to stand their ground. The slap a whole tribe, they won't mess around. Slap a whole tribe, what did you say? They'll slap you down in their own special way. Slap a whole tribe, take you to task. Either timed out or banned, you won't get a pass. When the trolls start stirring with their hateful schemes, the tribe comes marching in, fulfilling chat dreams. With a quick timeout or a mighty ban, they'll clean up the chat like no one else can. Slap a whole tribe, what did you say? They'll slap you down in their own special way. Slap a whole tribe, take you to task. Either timed out or banned, you won't get a pass. With their wit and their charm, they'll keep the peace, making sure the chat remains a joyful release. So if you're a troll, better tread with care. The slap a whole tribe is always aware.
Hey, hey, hey. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. It's been a while since I used this headset on this computer. But here we are tonight. Want you to let you know I'm starting my 12-step program tonight. Hello, my name is Mike Penny, and I'm a Trump hater.
Hello, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome to the meeting.
So glad to be here. All right, so we got this going on today, folks. Good to see the sheepdogs and everybody jumping on. We'll try to give it a minute before we get started so everybody can jump on. Let's see, we need to add Facebook to this.
You don't really have a team before?
I'm pretty sure Bubba rinsed it though.
No,
it was got it for a second.
It was this.
No, he did rent both of them. Yeah, I'll say.
I'll be running through better.
For the wedding?
Let's
He
see.
had both of them. He was
Y'all give me a second.
All right.
I'm good though.
We'll get Facebook fired up.
I was gonna put it in the other bag because we had 3 of these already.
Were they on sale? No. He's one of
He's
them.
spending his own money.
Hope everybody had a good Mother's Day out there.
No, we're gonna look.
You got him done before yet?
Yeah, we went earlier and it was really kind of funky, so it was just at 15 minutes skimming.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day. I know we did here with my wife, and of course the next day was her birthday. 3184. Excuse me. Hear me?
There you go.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. You got Facebook and LinkedIn running. I know what I'm trying to do.
All right.
I finally logged in as me into StreamYard. I think that's what changed it for me on my end. So we got 36 folks on StreamYard. I mean, on Facebook right now. We usually have about 100. If it gets real juicy, we get, up towards 200, but, share it out, folks. It's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's, despite the torrential downpours in every area consecutively, right? I hope everybody's enjoyed what weather has been nice. And, we got to be thankful for the rain too, It was literally raining outside, and the meteorologists the other night at home before we came to where we're at right now, the meteorologist the other night was telling us we were in a drought, that we needed to check with our county and see which days we had to conserve water on. And it's pouring down rain, right? You can't make this stuff up. And we're going to get into some more stuff tonight. that you just can't make up. So share us out, folks. Rumble, what's happening, Rumble? And .com, what's happening? All of it's up and running. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to see everybody. Right on, Paul Mack. How's your mom and them? Right? Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. We're certainly keeping our thoughts and prayers out for Mickey. I'll let Mickey share with y'all what's going on there, but please keep your thoughts and prayers out for Mickey. She's having a rough day today, and I'm sure she'll be sharing with you when she gets her feet back under her, because today's been kind of rough. And as much as she's a loving and caring person that she is, please be patient. Okay, everything's all right. Mrs. Sheepdog, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I know you're still recovering, and we wish you a continued speedy recovery. And Miss Maria Barnes, Mr. Paul Smith, also Miss Nancy over in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and several others, Mrs. Sheepdog said for me to make sure you got a hug, okay? They're all thinking about you, and do miss you, and I hope that you continue to feel better. There were several others, Mrs. Sheepdog. So just know you're loved, and we do miss you, and we're glad to hear that you're starting to swing up. Mickey is on. So I'm sure Mickey will share with you what she has going on. That's not my place to do, but Mickey, know that we love you, and every bit of our heart is with you during this time, and all those that are going through a thing. We all have something going on, and at different times in this journey, and we've stuck with each other through thick and thin, and we've actually grown. So as we continue to grow, we're going to continue to see how crazy it's gotten, right? You know, I started the show as like a 12-step program. My name is Mike, and I'm a Trump hater. So we let's I made this Facebook post. I'm going to show it to you. It's actually Sheepdog showed it to me first. So I kind of stole Sheepdog's thunder and posted it on Facebook. You know, that thing I do when I stir the pot over on Facebook, get everybody all riled up, right?
Yeah, you need to put a disclaimer on that when you post it.
All right.
Yeah, disclaimer, heads may pop.
Yeah, heads may pop, right? All right, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
All right, so about an hour ago, I posted MAGA, let's be honest. And of course, I got the be honest picture there with it, right? If Biden accepted a $400 million flying palace from a foreign government, you'd be screaming treason. You lost your minds over fake China wire transfers that never happened. Yet here's Trump about to accept a gold-trimmed Boeing 747-8 from Qatar royal family, retrofitted to serve as Air Force One after his term. It goes to his Presidential Library Foundation for personal use after his term. You are silent. He just told working Americans they might need to bear the brunt of higher prices and mocked people for buying more than 9 dolls while privately touring his custom jet in West Palm Beach. So tell me again, is this America first or just grift first, loyalty blind? Well, as you can imagine, there's quite a few colorful comments. I can get them to pull up here. There we go. Let's get all of them. Can y'all see and hear me still? Sheepdog?
Yeah.
All right. So Sheepdog and Gandalf are on the same page. Gandalf said, I'm assuming the plane will have more bugs than a crack house mattress. Sheepdog said the same thing.
Yeah. It's going to come with bugs, all kinds of shit. And maybe even a detonator.
Yeah. Others have said, from what I heard, the plane will be auctioned off and the money will go towards his presidential library. Either way, that's still unconstitutional, okay? And we still don't need our president taking that as a gift from a foreign country, okay? Not that he's our president. This is all shit show, folks. That's not even the real Trump. You know, that's why I can't understand why people are getting so upset. I mean, the guy behind the curtain is showing his face, and they're all upset because I'm a Trump hater. It's just a guy acting, doing his job. So John Bolton said it'll clearly, heard him say it'll be auctioned and proceeds donated to the library. All right, so that conversation continues. Wire transfers to Biden's did happen through a clearinghouse of Wells Fargo's in Great Neck, New York. Okay. You know, love to see the documentation, folks.
Hold on. So you know about that, but you can't see this?
Yeah, exactly. So you know about that, but you can't see that. That's true. Thank you, Sheepdog. Chapter 11, Voyager Digital Holdings. They posted, you know, something on automated clearinghouse services agreement as amended in resolving cure New York regional office. All right. So that's supposed to be up for that. So the next comment is kind of colorful. You make a mistake when you compare the two, Trump and Biden. If the shoe was on the other foot, it would be totally different. Trump is showing it in the public, and Biden and the dimwits and rhinos were laundering and hiding all their perks and benefits. Not a true comparison. So we made it okay first because it's Trump. Okay? We made it okay first because it's Trump. And then secondly, we made it okay because he's doing it in the public. Still breaking the law, okay, and going against the Constitution. But it's okay because it's Trump and he's doing it in the public and he ain't doing it in secrecy. I mean, I guess that is an improvement if he's not doing it in secrecy. I don't know what kind of improvement that is, but, you know, people, America, this is the United States of amnesia. We have freaking lost our morals and values and the moral value compass. I'm not bitching at those people that know, okay? I'm not bitching at even people that made these comments. But you can clearly see the hypocrisy in what's being stated right here. Because he's doing it in public and it's Trump, it's okay. You shouldn't have compared Biden and Trump together. Wow. Well, Clinton did it. Obama did it. Oh, the Bushes did it. They all did it. I mean, Sheepdog, chime in here, man.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're admitting the fact that he is doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you go back to 2017, Trump called Cater. He was talking about how Cater funds terrorism at a very high level. And then he turns around this cycle and goes and picks up a $400 million plane. Yeah, Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the clip. I'll play it here in a minute. But yeah, June 9, 2017, Qatar funds terrorism at a very high level was the words out of Trump's mouth.
Yep.
Also, Pam Bondi is a Qatar agent. she gets 100 and something thousand, or she got 100 and something $1,000 a month from Qatar. To
Imagine that.
Yeah, and then when she got into office, she stopped the FBI from. She ends the FBI's effort to combat foreign influence in U.S. politics. Imagine that.
Imagine
And guess
that.
what? I bet she even stopped the FBI from the Epstein list. I don't know. Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Qatar agent, gave President Donald Trump the green light to accept $400 million flying palace as a gift from Qatar. You think they're trying to take him out, Mike, or something like that? So she basically lobbied for Qatar, and she got $100 and something thousand a month for her efforts. Right. And then when she got into the Department of Justice, she ended all efforts to combat foreign influence in U.S. politics and the FBI. And also Trump made a real estate deal project in Qatar. It's going to be announced here soon. And he did an arms deal while he was there today as well.
So now we have the collective reasoning behind Pam Bondi being corrupt and being brought from Florida to the federal administration of what some people tout as the greatest president we've ever had. Okay, not that our country is supposed to even have a president. It shows you the lack of knowledge for a lot of people, because a true republic doesn't have a president. It has a head of state, just so you know. And it's all in Congress. But anyway, I regress, right? Or I digress.
You're just a Trump hater.
I'm just a Trump hater, sir. So Pam Bondi got moved up, got an increase, continued to get paid as a Qatar agent, an extra $100,000 and $118,000 a month. Trump gets a 747-8 Boeing plane trimmed in gold. Palace on wings, right? Palace on wings. And because it's all being done in the public, it's okay.
It's being done in the public to wake you up, but people just the cognitive dissonance is what the issue is, I believe.
Well, yeah, I mean it's the hypocrisy from the church is what it is. That's really what it is. It's come out of the church pews and into the voting booth. Prove me wrong. Not that anybody's vote is ever counted, but we can save that one for another day. And then somebody has the gall to say it's a military operation. Well, now our military's hypocrisy is showing, but it's okay because they're doing it in the public now. You know that. Real Trump or actor, it's all a show to expose the truth to the people. It's a show. You must show them. You can't just tell them. It doesn't mean we're not supposed to call it out when it's wrong. Doesn't matter who it is, we're supposed to call it out. I'm not being ugly towards anybody. The shit show is the shit show. Unconstitutional is unconstitutional. Public or secret, it is still the same thing.
I mean, he's serving it up on a platter for you.
He is. He really is.
People are just in denial, Mike.
Yeah. Well, the reason why Sheepdog that I am so adamant. The next piece I want to share. The reason why I'm so adamant about it. Well, I really got to get a mouse for this laptop. I keep clicking everything unknowingly because I'm dragging my finger on that little mouse pad thingy on the laptop. Me and mouse pads on the laptop thingies don't get along. The reason why I'm really concerned is because people that are showing their hypocrisy or cognitive dissonance or um, it's real lack of knowledge. Hold on. Their real lack of knowledge is because, the next two videos I'm going to show um, is the reason why. All right. This is a 3-part series. It's really good. I'm not going to show all three. I'm not even going to show all of each one of them. And it's actually a 4-part series if you continue to this part right here. All right, I'm gonna do this here now. Okay. Oh, I can't do that just yet. I'm used to having 3 screens, Sheepdog, and I'm only working with 1 tonight. Y'all be patient with me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got more bombshells coming too on this tonight after Mike gets done presenting. These are bombshells too.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Taking me a minute to figure out how to do it old school, right?
Oh, there you go. Here, I'll add it.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go right here. All right, so this is from Middle Nation, Community Sovereignty in the Age of Collapse, okay? This is the reason why I have a huge concern. Well, people need to wake up and realize that Trump is doing his job as a liquidator, okay? However crazy the shit show is, you have to know what's coming, okay? He's not going to fix it from the inside. It's impossible. You can never fix the beast system from the inside. It has to be taken completely down and start from scratch. And that's what's happening. When you don't have a government in a few weeks or whenever we get into this real hot and heavy here shortly, the shelves are empty, jobs are being lost daily by the thousands, and your community is not ready to help one another and serve one another in this time because you're so dependent on the government to do it for you, it's going to be hell. So listen to a few minutes of this one and the next one here, okay?
Tariffs on their price tags, Amazon never meant that. You know how they said that they were going to list the cost of the tariffs on their price tags, how much more expensive their products were going to be because of the tariffs. They said that they were going to list the markup on the price tags. That's what they said they were going to do. So, of course, immediately the Trump administration responded and accused Amazon of collaborating with China, working with China, and so on, being like an enemy. So immediately they took back what they said. They said they're not going to do it. But obviously, this was just a PR stunt from the beginning, so that they can inflate the prices as much as they want, and everybody will just chalk it up to the tariffs, most likely.
All right. So we played most of this video the other night on the show. So there's the front end of it, right? So let's go back and get some more here. All right. So that's the tariffs, how it started dragging into the conversation. And then we got the sufficiency lecture part 1. All right. Let me see here.
Tired of typing tons of notes during class? There's finally a better way. It's called
I've said that decentralization.
Y'all can still see that, right? Sheepdog, you still with me?
Yeah. Yeah. My computer's I'm trying to load some things up at the same time.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, I can see it.
all right, cool. Thank you,
It took
sir.
me a minute to get the mute button on. Yep.
All right.
I've said that decentralization is going to be the theme of this era, but decentralization in the West is precipitated by demolition and by disintegration, while in the Muslim world and in the global South, it's going to be precipitated by building and by integration. It's very different. The distinction is critical. It's somewhat misleading, actually, to talk about decentralization in the West, or anyway, it would be easy to misunderstand or to overlook what that decentralization is really about, because decentralization in the West is literally about breaking down components of the existing power structure, components that compete with private sector authority. So it's actually a power consolidation move, ultimately, by the OCGFC, breaking down America as the global hegemon, and then breaking down the central authority of the federal government within the country, and then selectively breaking down the localized formal power structures at the state level, basically rendering public sector institutions as redundant to make way for private sector control. Eventually, this could even prompt, like I talked about before, secessionist movements, whether literally or functionally, by individual states inside the United States. Functionally, I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable functionally, as the federal government becomes less and less relevant in terms of governance. So you're going to have individual states in America acting more or less like independent states, independent entities, independent countries, and then some states will even be regional hegemons within the territorial United States. That's already the case, to be honest. I mean, California, Texas, New York, and so on. These are basically domestic hegemons within the United States. So it's not a huge leap to go from that to individual American states conducting their own foreign policy and so on, and really operating like independent countries. And of course, I anticipate something similar to that happening in Europe, as I've talked about many, many times. The EU, the European Union, will certainly dissolve within the next coming decades. Tension and conflict and so forth between countries is already spreading as we speak. In 20 years or so, no one's even going to be able to imagine that Brussels was ever the seat of continental power in Europe. But again, this disintegration will be and is being engineered for the purpose of consolidating private sector power. So yes, what we think of as the formal power structure, government, and so on, this is going to be decentralized through disintegration. But the entirety of the West, America, the UK, and Europe, and so forth, are going to be brought under the domination of the a-national OCGFC, the owners and controllers of global financialized capital, who are non-nationalistic. It's a stateless imperial power that, as of right now, actually does represent the only real global hegemon. As of right now, the OCGFC are the unipolar superpower in the world today. See, there's been a creeping capture of state power in the West by corporate power. That's something that a lot of people fail to notice, or to fully understand anyway. Throughout the colonization period, throughout the neo-colonization period of the global South, the West itself, the colonizing nations themselves, were also being taken over. It turns out that the pillagers who looted Africa, Central and South America, the Middle East, and Asia, and so forth, they just turned out to be serfs themselves. It's like a bank robber being taken hostage. You come back from your crime spree in the global South, only to find yourself being enslaved by your own accomplices. That's what's going on. So in a way, decentralization in the West isn't decentralization at all. It is consolidation. It's demoting every existing nationalistic power center and bringing them all under the totalistic overarching control of the OCGFC. But as I talked about last time, for the population, there will be, or there has to be, some sort of ground up decentralization whereby communities build their own localized systems to take care of themselves.
Okay, so the OC, I don't even know what all the letter agency he was. He's spitting out of his mouth. I know they're not going to make it as the New World Order and the power to be very, very long. Okay, maybe like a couple of years is what's really being said. But in order for these communities to do what he just said, we have to rise up in our communities and self-governed to begin with, right? And then put our own systems to work. That's why we got Big Mama's economic plan. That's why we have her education plan. That's why we have several other plans for the communities. Now, not every community in the United States is as prepared as they should be for what's coming, and that's the deconstruction and decentralization of the federal government right on into the local franchised corporations, okay, known as your local government. Okay, all of it is getting torn down. That's what Trump's job is, to liquidate the assets. Okay, so let's go into to number 2. Okay, so basically, let's go into lecture number 2. This one really is good, folks. They hired you to rob your own house. Okay.
Empower your students to be more authentic, impactful writers with Grammarly's comprehensive AI writing assistance. Use it to help students bring.
We all need to cooperate in this prison break, okay? So if you're going to bust out of prison, you need to know the layout. You need to know the blueprint. You need the floor plan of the facility that you're locked in. And the same goes for the economic captivity that our countries are trying to escape from. So you look at supply chains, because chains is exactly what supply chains have been for us to a great degree. Nations no longer grow what they eat or build what they use. Every necessity, from seeds to semiconductors, arrives to our countries on ships through choke points that are controlled by corporations, priced in currencies that our countries don't issue under regulations that we don't write. If you're not a producer, you are a dependent. Means if you're not a producer, you're a prisoner. And the same is true even if you are a producer, but you need permission to produce, or you have no say in what you produce or for whom you produce, and the more efficient the so-called supply chain is, the more dangerous is the dependency, because it becomes more addictive. Just like a drug that gets you high faster, you become dependent more quickly. You become addicted. You become an addict to that delivery system, and you go into withdrawal if the system breaks down in any way, or if it is deliberately tampered with, or if it is shut down deliberately. Farmers can't grow because their fertilizers are blocked by sanctions. Factories stall because shipments are delayed because of some new regulation in the country, or tariffs, or what have you. Entire nations could potentially face blackouts because diesel prices surged in Wall Street. These are not logistical hiccups. These are systemic design features ensuring that even your survival depends on uninterrupted compliance. That's not a stable approach to survival. That's not a stable approach for survival, and certainly not for prosperity. And then, just like in prison, you have guards, you have security. The same with the system of economic incarceration. The architecture of captivity is held together by institutional gatekeepers, the IMF, for example, the World Bank. They don't lend money. They rent you permission to function. Understand? In exchange for dismantling your public sector, for privatizing your commons, and for exposing your economy to the wolves of global finance, basically making yourself vulnerable. The World Trade Organization doesn't facilitate trade. It enforces rules that benefit multinational exporters at the expense of domestic producers. You understand? They say if you implement tariffs or subsidies or other protections for your domestic industry, then they'll say that you're hampering free trade, because their definition of free trade means the freedom to extract your resources and your wealth without restriction and without having to share any of it with you, any of your own wealth and your own resources. In other words, free trade for them means what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs. By calling what they do free trade is like saying that a rapist is practicing free love. I've explained before, Western foreign direct investment is not pumping money into your economy. It's sucking money out of your economy. It's a syringe, right? And you think that they're giving you medicine with that syringe, but actually they're taking blood with that syringe. They're extracting from you. They use your labor, they use your land, they use your resources, and then they shift all the profits offshore and leave your people jobless the moment that a cheaper region opens up. And even the job that you had was basically a job of digging up buried treasure in your own backyard and handing it over to them. That's the job that they created for you. Well, that's not a job, that's humiliation. You were hired to rob your own house. Development is not the purpose of any of these institutions. You must understand that. Their purpose is to discipline nations into obedience. They create the rules, you follow them. That's the so-called rules-based order. That's what the rules-based order means. They give the orders and you follow the rules. And the point of the orders is to debase you. Understand that for the West, the word development is just a euphemism for dependence when they're talking about you. So when they say that they want to support development in your country, or they say that they want to help you develop, you know what they really mean. It means reshaping your society to be in compliance with Western interests. It means training your young people not to build your own nation, but to service the interests of foreign capital. That's what it means. Okay, that's not development, that's domestication. That's what they mean by development. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They want you to only be optimized for their use, not for your own survival. Okay, so this is the architecture of economic captivity. Global supply chains that entangle and disempower, institutions that dictate and do not assist, and a model of development that punishes autonomy and rewards compliance. To escape this architecture, we need to become exactly what they have always tried to prevent us from becoming, which is self-reliant, self-sufficient, and completely independent and economically sovereign. And for that, we don't need to protest, we don't need to plead, and we don't need permission. We need to construct alternatives, brick by brick, well by well, seed by seed. We don't need to bring their building down. We just need to stop living in their building. And that begins with sufficiency, not as isolation, but as strategy, not as survivalism, but as sovereignty. When captivity is systemic, escape has to be structural, you understand? It's not enough to protest or to critique or to demand reform. The system is performing exactly as it was designed to perform. It cannot be reformed into a just system. It has to be refused through function, not fantasy, through reality, not through rhetoric, practically, not symbolically. It's about building intentional zones of economic integrity, zones that can sustain themselves, defend themselves, and that refuse to comply with global systems of exploitation, not through violence, but through non-reliance upon those systems. You can conceptualize what I'm talking about as the creation of what you can call local and cross-border sufficiency zones. A sufficiency zone would be characterized by autonomous production of essentials, food, clean water, shelter, primary health care, basic education, and energy, survival requirements of life. Within a zone like this, their provision is going to be guaranteed through local production and local systems of distribution. No community should go hungry because of supply chain disruptions in some foreign port. You have to have a controlled interface with global capital. A sufficiency zone is not going to be closed off, but it will be selectively permeable. It engages with the outside world strategically, not by necessity. You know, it imports only what it cannot produce, and only when doing so strengthens autonomy rather than weakening autonomy. Trade doesn't have to be exploitation. Economic activity can be governed by ethical standards rooted in Islamic principles. You know, fairness in contracts, transparency, prohibition of riba, social responsibility, the obligation to prevent harm. In zones like this, markets are tools that serve the people rather than the people being tools to serve the market. A sufficiency zone within a country wouldn't challenge the legitimacy of the state. It fulfills the responsibilities of the state communally as a support mechanism for the state. You understand? Sufficiency as a strategy of support, as a means to fortify the state by strengthening the people, strengthening the population. Sufficiency zones wouldn't be outside the state. They wouldn't be in defiance of the state. They would not be intended to replace or to challenge national governments, not at all. But they would be built to try to relieve some of the pressure on the state, to restore autonomy from the ground up, which ultimately just serves the interests of the state. In fact, this is the way that communities have always functioned, especially in the Muslim world. You know, the Ottoman Empire.
All right. So that is video number 2, where he talks about, having the layout of the plan that they're, 2030, basically, how we imprisoned ourselves by not having the layout, right? Not knowing our way out of the matrix, if you will. Here we are. We are, right in the middle of the liquidation, more towards the end than anything now, but we're right in the middle of the liquidation, and we can't decide if Trump is our president or if he's part of the liquidation as the liquidator. All right. Refer to Hopi prophecy. Refer to what the shaman just said from Middle Nation. Refer to the fact that Empress Rarebird has come up with her systems that that will help us all, because we're unprepared. We're going to have to pull together in a quick manner. We're going to have to get each and every community to its understanding that, if you have a school within your walking distance, that school is about to become a very big part of your life in that community. Not just because your kids go there, but because somebody from the community is going to have to operate and function in that school. Somebody is going to have to say for your community, through fairness and a fair and equal playing field, what your community can provide for itself and what it can't provide for itself. Then those negotiations are going to be had in order to get what it doesn't have supplied for itself in the community. That's called trade, right? So you're about to become a state. You're about to open your agency as an individual. All right. The shelves are going to go bare. They failed at making the hyperinflation happen, so we're a lot further along than you can anticipate. Why did they fail? Well, there's other videos to show you that, and we'll get into that later on in the show tonight. But we've had enough inflation to make a lot of people uncomfortable and a lot of people suffer. The Great Taking has already started. If you don't remember the Great Taking, then, here we are. You need to go watch the Great Taking. Yeah, it has about 25 minutes or so of stuff that you...
After 30 days, I could not believe my before and after picture.
That you may never understand about the finance world and the stock market. That's okay. Because in plain English, he tells you, do not panic, do not fear. There are people in control. All right? There's nobody coming to save us but ourselves. But there are people, indigenous, native indigenous, or organic indigenous, that are in control, like Empress Rarebird and Chief Pontiac and many other empresses. The powwow was this weekend, and it was a huge success. The Empress even brought out her agenda, but I'm gonna let her tell you more about that next week when she gets going in that direction. You'll hear all about it, I'm sure. But it was a huge success. Now, we only had one person from our group, even though there was many that said they were going to go. Only one showed up from Truth Seekers, and that's okay, because that one person really made a strong statement to the Empress, and she took heed to it and shared a lot. Okay. But what the shaman is saying here from Middle Nation is, folks, is that you need to quit worrying about Trump as the president and getting the presidency and the current government structure fixed from within, because it's never going to happen. Just like you're never going to hear the truth from these clowns either. Okay? It's the people. We're stronger than we know. We have to start getting in our communities, getting out to the end of the driveway and having these conversations. Yeah, a lot of people aren't listening, but we can't let it be an excuse anymore. All right? If your community doesn't have a chosen spokesperson yet, don't worry, they're going to come and ask you for one. Because it's going to happen either way. It's imminent. It's imminent. Sheepdog, can you hear me still? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this. It's really acting funny.
Yeah, we're acting funny on this end too. I'm gonna blame it on this laptop, but it's really whatever they're doing. Some of it's whatever's happening is happening. All right. So part 3, folks. Let's listen to a few minutes of part 3, and then we'll move on. All right.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It says I'm sharing screen, but I'm not. There's nothing there. Oh, Jesus. This cray, man.
Hey, Jim, you can hop on out of the chat if you don't like it.
Which chat is he in, Sheepdog?
Huh?
Oh, I'm Mike Penny's a Trump hater. So sad this group really fell apart. Jim, good luck, buddy. Good
Yes,
luck.
sir.
Yeah, there's my screen right here. Okay, so let's go over here and let's listen to a few
Hey,
minutes.
stick around, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to a few minutes of part 3 here, okay? Now, in our country, we already have a lot of the resources and stuff that he's going to talk about here in part 3. But it's going to be our job to get control of those resources in a nonviolent way, because we can do it nonviolent. Okay, we've already started working on it. All right, there's some communities more advanced at it than others, but we're going to help one another. Okay, but the idea is to get each community sufficient so that community can represent the state as a whole in many different ways and many different angles, because there's multiple communities in a state, obviously, right? And there's multiple counties, right? And so on and so forth. So keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with it. It is possible. It won't be easy, but it is possible. We're going to do just fine. But we got some work to do. We need to call out the shit Trump is doing, because it's wrong. Some of it's wrong. Most of it's wrong. It's unconstitutional. Call it out. Don't let it divide you, even though people disagree. Okay, like Jim over in the Facebook chat, who says our group has really fell apart, but that's okay. Jim, you're going to see how much we have fallen apart when you need our ass. All right, and you will need our ass. Make no mistake. But you want to know something, Jim? We'll be there. Let's see if I can't refresh.
Hey everyone, big heads up. Paleo Valley's running a sale on all their meat sticks right now. You can get 30 sticks for $36.
This is a strategic infrastructure model rooted in Islamic ethics, designed for real-world implementation and engineered to sever the lifelines of dependency that keep communities trapped in that global economic prison. Each zone would be structured around a set of core infrastructure pillars, all of which are geared towards one foundational goal, which is baseline autonomy with moral integrity. These aren't just survival mechanisms. These are expressions of sovereignty. These are manifestations of sovereignty. So, for example, energy microgrids, either solar or hybrid, because no sufficiency is even possible, really, without energy independence. So you need centralized grids that are not vulnerable to sabotage or to blackmail or to price manipulation and supply chain fragility. Sufficiency zones would deploy solar-powered microgrids, optionally integrated with wind or biofuel systems, scaled for local consumption. These are decentralized and modular, reducing systemic vulnerability. Community-owned, not corporate-controlled, designed for local prioritization, meaning prioritized for agriculture, water, refrigeration, communication, not for luxury or waste. Energy becomes a right, or is treated like a right. Then you need hydro-independent water systems, harvesting, purification, and so forth. Water is the first condition of life itself, and it's the first point of control in any system of subjugation. So a sufficiency zone would rely on independent water systems, including rainwater harvesting networks, solar desalination or filtration units, gravity-fed distribution channels, and local reservoirs. The goal is to never be dependent on municipal grids or foreign engineered infrastructure for access to drinking water or for irrigation or for sanitation. Water doesn't need to be monetized. It's a protected trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, distributed with fairness and guarded against contamination and guarded against privatization. And then, of course, you need agro-sovereignty, agricultural sovereignty. Food sovereignty is not just about what you grow, but why you grow it and for whom. So a sufficiency zone would prioritize permaculture techniques, low input, regenerative, climate appropriate farming, community-based seed banks to reject GMO dependency, local staples over export crops, with ceilings on exportation of essential goods to prevent resource leakage. The objective is to feed the community first, not the commodity markets. And then in terms of exchange, trust-based.
Did you hear that? He said, feed the community first, not the commodity markets. Imagine that, right? What? Feed the community first and not the marketplace? Capitalism, right? That's what capitalism would have you do. Take it to market. What happens when you take it to market? You get drained of your resources, and your community usually has homeless and hunger in it. You want to keep playing around? You want to keep playing around with the beast system? You're going to go down with it. Feed your community.
That's the
Right?
situation. That's
Go
the
ahead,
situation we're in right now, Mike. I mean,
yes.
We spend millions of dollars at Walmart, but do you see Walmart out there feeding the homeless that sleeps behind the building?
Not on the regular, but they have done it.
Right. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. As a whole, you're absolutely right.
They make billions of dollars a year. I mean, we should have.
They could wipe up the entire homeless and hungry problem in several states, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, and what you're looking at here is in the third world countries. This is going to become your humanitarian projects. How to get these countries caught up with solar energy. Of course, we'll be moving on from there, from solar energy, because we have greater technology than that. But you got to start somewhere. Look at everybody has a level for which they're at, and we have to be able to sustain ourselves with these sufficiency zones, so to speak. Okay. Every county in the state of North Carolina has its own water municipality. All right. Every community surrounding those water municipalities is going to have to get control and secure that water municipality from the corporation. All right. It sounds like a war, right? But it's really just having the knowledge to know that the corporation does not have any authority anymore. They cannot charge us for it. It's God-given. It's God-given. Creator of all things made sure that water was not a commodity that we should have charged for. That's capitalism. So on and so forth. All right, so here we are. There's a huge understanding coming out tonight, I hope. Remember, my name is Mike Penny, and I've started my 12-step program. I'm a Trump hater. You know, I'm really not a Trump hater, folks. I'm not going to stand and watch while he asks us, the everyday people, doing the sweat off of our brows to make our state go round, our community go round, to make the federal government go round, and all that stuff, while he acts unconstitutionally and, you know, ask us to endure just a little bit more. Right? To have these so-called mainstream media, which really are rag mags like Epoch Times, gaslighting us by telling us that gas prices went down and grocery prices have been the lowest they have been in 4 years. That's Epoch Times headline. It's all bullshit. Quit falling in it. Turn the damn, if you're watching TV or you're watching the alt media that's part of the Flynn Bro network, or we lost the sheepdogs, or you're watching, you know, Benny Johnson, Charlie Kirk, all of them folks, Charlie Ward, all of them folks, if you're watching that stuff, and, you know, more power to you. But I'm telling you, and people aren't on our side, folks. They're on their own side, and generally they're controlled and used by the Jesuits. July 4th of 2026, and truth be told, we're probably in the year of 2026 now. Maybe, I don't know. We might be in the year 1026. I think we need not worry about that as much as we need to worry about getting this collapse done so we can get on our way. Yeah, PPN's included in that. You know, nothing against them. Got nothing against them, but they're Flynn bros, right? They're Charlie Ward bros. Yep, a lot of them are just as bad as mainstream media. How about Dr. David Martin? You know, I've seen some of David Martin's stuff, Dr. Martin's stuff today, in doing the research that we're doing. $2.99 a gallon is not $1.98 a gallon, is what is being said. Okay. The raw fuel price is not even $1.98 a gallon. It's not even that low. So, you know, the thing to know is that by the end of 2026, we're going to be doing away with fuel anyway. All right, we're going to a hydrogen-based production. Why? Because water is a natural resource. Much like oil, it replenishes, but it's not clean energy. Like oil is not clean energy like water is, right? So, you know, somebody's being pretty persistent. I understand. I really don't know about David Martin because I haven't seen enough of his stuff to really research it and dig down in it to see where his stances are. Yeah, we need low affordable housing. We sure do. I really think we can work all that out by starting to get control. Remember, water is the first step to sustaining life. Okay, water is the first step. We have to get organized and get our communities organized. And what's the first step to sustaining life in our community? Securing the water supply, right? The next step is to generate food for the community, in the community, without taking it to market first. Remember, the community comes first, not the marketplace. Why is that important? Because the marketplace is set in a capitalistic drudgery that withdraws you from obtaining any positive output from the resources you used to get the product to the market. Feed the community first. Water is the first line of life in sustaining life. Water. Mark, I hate to tell you, buddy, but by the end of 2026, gas is going to be gone. You really need to do your research. I'll be glad to hang around and let you prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, from the research that I've seen, gas is going away at the end of 2026. We will be converted, Jaco, and we will be converted into hydrogen use. In the middle of 2026, we will most likely have both. Eventually convert the cars all over to hydrogen. Yeah, Jaco is 2.0. Michael Jaco is definitely 2.0. He's part of that CIA network, right? Yeah, we'll definitely have Jubilee celebrations, folks. It's not all bad. It's not all, piss and vinegar. But we got some work to do, folks. This isn't Trump saved the day by continuing to fix the systems from within where he's at. No, Trump goes down with the ship. Please explain 2.0. That means he's been replaced. It's not the original Michael Jaco. It's not the original Alex Jones. It's not the original Trump. It's not the original Pam Bondi. It's not the original J.D. Vance, or excuse me, Sheepdog. Sorry about that. J.D. Trance, right? Biden has been shot about 1,100 times, and we ain't seen him in years. But we're still blaming shit on him.
Hell, he don't even know it's being blamed on him.
Right?
He was on vacation for 2 years.
Yeah, right?
All actors.
Yeah,
it's a high-level script. High-level script. Central casting and CIA.
Yeah.
CAA.
Right? So, folks, I wanted to bring that to you from Middle Nation and get my 12-step program started. My name's Mike Penny, and I'm a Trump hater. Anyway, yeah, Hillary keeps resurrecting, right? That woman's got more than nine lives, right?
Yeah, CGI works wonders.
Yeah, Scott McKay, Nino, all of them. They're all in the same boat. Where's Huma Abedin? I don't know. They let the genie out the bottle, didn't they?
She's probably playing AOC.
Right.
I don't know, man, but I guess you'll find out.
Right. Well said, BA thinker. Are we critically and independently thinking for ourselves? 107's 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. You know, there's been so many different ones that ain't even funny.
Well,
all of them got the same story, right?
I know he's not JFK Jr. because he flew commercial the other day.
Right?
Southwest Airlines.
No, I'm not always right. I'll be the first to admit it, right? But you know, I don't know the Michael Jaco story. I just know he's 2.0, folks. It's not the same Michael Jaco that started the program ripping people off with $5,000 a day coaching programs, right? What a crock of shit. Sasha Stone is another one that's very questionable. I will tell you that Sasha has really done a lot in the spiritual realm, but I don't know. You know, he's got a past. Has he redeemed himself? That's not for me to decide. I'm definitely not 2.0. Here, let me. I'm definitely not 2.0, folks. This is me right here. I haven't changed. I just grew a goatee, basically, and a mustache. I haven't changed. I wish I could lose some more weight. I'm working on it. What do I think about David Quigley? Oliver Stone was definitely not good. What do you think about David Quigley? David Quigley's got quite the story and definitely the stolen identity. Whether he's an elite still or not, that remains to be seen. But he's definitely the real John John. Yeah, I'm 3.0, right? Alex Collier, I have no opinion on. That's definitely not Jaco, right? You know, we can sit here and we can talk about who's who and all day long. West Coast Wizard is the original West Coast Wizard still, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Carrie Cassidy, there's a reason why she's across the pond spreading her stuff. Benjamin Fulford is a voice in this shit show as well. I really have no. We lost him again. I really have no opinion of Mike Gill other than he really has the research for the stuff that he shares, but he stopped there. He really needs to research it all the way through. All right. You know, I think that he got caught years ago, and they're chasing him down for that now, and he doesn't want to pay the piper. So there's a lot there about that. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, really. Yeah, Carrie Cassidy is definitely not here to help us, folks. All right. Very knowledgeable lady. She used to be. She's done a lot of really good interviews, but she sold out somewhere along the way. Yeah, there's still some controlling factions going on. Absolutely. Fulford kind of knows what he's talking about a little bit. But he sensationalizes things so much. That's what Mike Adams, the health ranger, is definitely a Flynn bro or something like that. He's not on our side. That's just my opinion. I don't have anything to back that up other than my opinion. Never liked him from the get-go. Ishmael Perez is full of shit as a Christmas turkey. We're waiting for a sheepdog to come back in. Yeah. I've learned a lot from some of the folks what we're talking about. Yeah, Mike Adams is gloom and doom for sure. There's a lot of people telling the same story as me. We post the stuff in our Telegram group all the time of people. John Nolan with Inspired is telling the same story. Right? Christmas turkey. There's no such thing as a Christmas turkey at our house. It's ham during Christmas, right? Turkey during Thanksgiving. Milkade's got a kickstand, yes. Brett Bart, don't know much about Brett Bart. Mark Z, we used to refer people to Mark Z all the time, not anymore. It's the same regurgitated stuff. People have been waiting on the RV for 20 some years. What happened to Clay Clark? He opened his mouth and inserted his foot regularly. He's a Flynn bro. That's what happened to Clay Clark. Michelle, she has to answer to her own stuff, you know, just like I do. I don't have anything to hide. When I've been wrong, I come on here and tell you as quickly as possible I was wrong. And here we are, you know, we're discovering more and more truth. I'm not a big fan of Lynn Wood either. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer, right? I mean, he was upset because they were going to take his bar license away, knowing full well he knew what the bar was. Make up your mind. That's hypocrisy, right? King Smarty. I mean, the name says it all right there, right? King Smarty, right? Yeah, old King Smarty, he's going to be on the crypto train forever. We'll be 20 years away from crypto, and King Smarty's still going to be on the crypto train. Right? And our good old pal, Godlewski, he's full of shit as a Christmas turkey. The military stuff can be complicated, folks. The thing that the way I separate the military stuff is to understand that every bit of the military that we had before a lot of us got on this journey in 2015, 2016. In 2015 and 2016, it was owned by the cabal. It has been owned by the cabal. It was that military that we knew as normal, everyday military, you know, was never belonged to the real America or Americas, right? Turtle Island. That's supposed to be the Iroquois tribe and the militia, right? You go back to the Continental Congress, Articles of Confederation. That was all indigenous Iroquois, and so on and so forth. As the wars progressed into the Civil War, the indigenous have let us know that they, they had people that were born and bred to a fight, and they would slave them into it. Kim Clement is an actor, folks. Is an actor. I think sometimes Nino tries to do the right thing, but he falls short. We can definitely call bullshit a couple miles away. Simon Parks, you mean the guy who had an affair with an alien and told his wife and then was kissing his cat on a live show? Okay, yeah, Simon Parks. He's just kind of quiet nowadays. He puts some stuff out every now and then. Definitely not what we thought, if that gives you any inclination. Yes, we are finishing this together. Nick Veneman, definitely 2.0. Yep. Yeah, Juan, compromised Nino, absolutely. Alex Collier, Flynn bad. Flynn bad, folks. He's a triple agent. Is negative 48 alive? I think that's possible, very possible. That's about all I can say about it right now. All right. Freedom Force Battalion is most likely a Jesuit. I mean, a Zionist. I don't know. She's a real sweet lady, I can tell you that. It's hard to measure her intent because she's so sweet. But 1,000 years of peace has already happened, folks. That's been proven 10 times over. Yeah, that's unfortunate that everybody's involved with Charlie Ward. We all have to answer for the mistakes. Yeah, I've noticed that cheating. Mark Taylor is a tough one to crack too. I know he was on a lot of Zionist shows early on. He's been doing a lot with Michelle Moore lately. I'm not so sure about all that, but he has been, really, he's been, not so much on Trump's side either. So what actually happens next is the collapse. Somewhere along that line, they'll throw the synthetic reset at us, which is most likely Nasara. Okay, that'll bleed down from the fiat currency that we have now. The fiat currency we have right now, that'll bleed down to the digital offer, which we're largely into the digital piece already. I mean, they're already, setting forth the plan to build the 15-minute cities. A lot of people don't understand as to their own demise. They sound nice. and good and all, but really it's yeah, Michael McDonald and Mark Taylor used to do a lot together. Yeah. So the collapse is going to happen somewhere in the next 5 to 7 weeks, is what it's looking like. Is what it's looking like, and yeah, somewhere in the next 5 to 7 weeks is what it's looking like. Is full. We should be full on into the collapse. We're being psyoped at every corner. Okay, really every corner. That's why we have to stop paying attention to it. Start paying attention to ourselves and our communities. Yeah, take whatever money you get out of the synthetic reset known as NESARA and run. Absolutely. Hold on to it. Buy gold and silver and or land as quickly as possible. And just hold tight. Help people where you can and help yourself, obviously. Some people need, upgrades in their life. Absolutely right now. There's a lot of people suffering. But, hold on to as much of it as you can. Okay? Thank you, Mary. We're definitely thankful for you as well. Go within. That's exactly right, Molly. Molly, that's the best statement I've seen all night. Go within, folks. Yeah, I like John Nolan too. Land is not going to be sold in the future. We are not there yet. All right. If you can buy it, buy it. I think Dr. Kia Pruitt has a lot of truth. I don't think she's very well set on the RV side of things. She's going down the wrong path there. Dr. G and Dr. G has reinforced the fact that she does know a lot about the NESARA piece. Benjamin Fulford is quoted in the NESARA one book. Outside of the continuous regurgitation of the same stuff that's not even talked about in NESARA 1 and NESARA 2 books, some form of it is going to happen. Okay. And we will get some relief out of it. All right. The biggest thing that we should do right now is pay attention to these call to actions. Remember that Chief Pontiac has put it out there for everybody to stand up for their sovereignty. It's not something that we have to fill out paperwork to obtain. By no way, no shape, how. It is, in fact, just joining the caretakers of the land, the original Aboriginal indigenous caretakers of the land. That's a good point right there. I'm a little tired. I'm not down at all, no. I'm a little tired. The Schumann residents keeping from regular sleep pattern, having a regular sleep pattern. Badlands media, they know a lot of stuff, but they're just trying to hang on to an audience and that's why they haven't gone as far as we have. I'd love for as many of y'all to stick around as possible, but everybody has their own thought process and their ability. Yeah, absolutely, the matriarchy, their ability to do what they can. Wow, sheepdog ain't made it back on yet. To do what they can. X-22 is not on our side, folks. He's scripted too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely tired today. There you go. Right on, Nadine. I'm definitely with you there. The TTS 88 tribe. That's right. Let me thank you for the right. Citizen equals slave. Don't be a citizen. Absolutely. Let me say it. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Are y'all able to get back on? Did you lose internet?
Now I lose internet. My computer shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. It's shut down right now, but it's just spinning, saying shut down. They booted me out 4 times. I've never had that problem.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my 3rd time getting booted off the show, and then I went to go back in, and I hit enter, and it just kept spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. Now it's shut down my computer, and it's still spinning. So it says shut down on my computer screen right now.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Well, I'll keep it running. Just let me know what's going on, man.
It's gonna take me a minute,
Just want to make sure y'all are all right.
oh yeah, it's a computer issue, man. I don't know what's the problem.
Well, they zapped you.
Yeah. Oh, updates are underway now. Please keep your computer on. Really?
Nothing like getting an update in the middle of a show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, right? All right, man.
Yeah, I sent you the stuff. I'll send you some the stuff I have. You want to go ahead and show that.
All right, cool.
We got the RFK $100 million with the video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he says it on that video. They can hear it. You can read it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the thing. All right, I got you, sheepdog. All right, so one of the things that sparked me today is this video right here. I'm gonna bring this up on screen right here. RFK. All right, hang on one second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Excuse me. RFK said in a press conference, or one of the things that was going on today or recently, that Trump received $100 million from Big Pharma, and he turned and looked at Trump when he said it, and Trump agreed, and then he said, "That's why we love this guy. He can't be bought off." Right? So imagine that. Check this out. Okay, so here we go. Here's the video now, okay? And I have it in another video too.
This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million, but he can't be bought.
I mean, did he really just say that? He said President Trump took $100 million from the pharmaceutical industry, and he's a man of his word, and he can't be bought. I mean, he just said that, didn't he? I mean, y'all did hear that. Let me back it up a little bit. Here we go.
Who has the courage? President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million, but he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country. And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like, Lord.
All right. So, yeah. So y'all did hear it, right? Yeah, we're gonna share it out. I got the full video actually. I'm gonna share out with you, and you can dissect it down to that clip. Yes, he accepted the money at the time. Okay, so I mean, if you want to put a positive spin on it, still don't make it right. But if you want to put a positive spin on it, you can say that he took it. He took it at one time or another, but doesn't take it anymore, maybe. But that wasn't said. Okay? It was all said in the same breath. Sheepdog, if you can hear me, send me the video with Dr. Jack Crouch in it as well. That's the one I wanted to share tonight too. Let me see if I can find that one. Since he's ousting Trump on stage for accepting money up to $100 million at one time from Big Pharma. Let's go ahead and show RFK what he's really made of too. All right. Let me see here. Let me go over here to this here. Sheepdog, can you send me the video of oh yeah. You notice Trump didn't drink what was handed to him today, and then miraculously in this one shot right here, the devil horns were added to the picture behind them. Let's see. Yeah, see that right there? See that right there? Devil horns. Look at the hand. Okay. You go find the original clip from 4 different sources. And this picture is not even in the room. So this is somebody, doctored this one up, right? This is the one. This is the article about Pam Bondi and her acceptance of being a lobbyist for a guitar, and her $100,000 and on so on and so forth. She okays it for Trump to take the plane, right? Trump, like Steve Dogg was saying, that he had a video from Wall Street Journal in 2017 that Trump called guitar funds terrorism at a very high level. Now he's taking gifts from them, right? I mean, people can change. Fun fact: AG Pam Bondi, who approved Trump's $400 million jet gift from Guitar, was a paid lobbyist for Guitar, earning $115,000 a month. Let me see here. You know, a lot of people speaking out about James O'Keefe. You know, he's one of them folks. He went to a Jesuit high school, and you know how that translates, right? Jesuits breed Zionists. Yeah, there's several different people playing Cash Patel now. It's all one team, Team USA. The treason ran deep on both sides. We don't get fooled again. One team wins. God's team. Right on, right on, right on. Pam Bondi. Here's Pam Bondi lobbying for Guitar. I mean, the Sheepdogs really got all of it, okay? And we're going to share it all out. Right now, I'm going to go find the one from... sorry about that. I'm going to go find the one from the other day that's really fire. Has to do with Casey Mears, I think his name is. Let me scroll back up. Hopefully y'all can still see my screen. Give me 1 second. I'll double check. Make sure y'all can still see me and hear me. If I knew the guy's name, I'd search it real quick and make this quicker. Let me go over here to files. You got 600 files. These are all PDFs. $22,000 video files. Let me see if I can find it in the video file. Let's see. Colleen's trying to help out. Thank you, Colleen. She just put one on the wall. Let's see. Yep, that's it.
Have you seen this? It's absolutely insane. Look at the presentation on what's inside this can.
Kennedy was our big hope. Kennedy was.
Yeah, this is it right here. I'm gonna let this play for you guys. This is really good. Y'all pay attention, okay? They destroy the Kennedy, RFK, and all the vaccine cronies, including the lobbyists. That's it, cause. Thank you so much. Y'all enjoy this, all right? I'll be right back.
Finally, he was the one that's going to, get in a position of power. And even if he didn't win the presidency, he has this gigantic microphone. And then all of a sudden, his message shifts, his focus shifts. He's our nuclear bomb. We're in World War III. He's gonna take down Japan. All of a sudden, the nuclear bomb, the target has shifted to food.
Nicole came on and talked a lot about food.
Let me finish. And this coincided with this meteoric rise with Casey and Callie Means.
Do we not feel optimistic about the moment that we're in for true transparency?
No.
Okay, no more.
Why don't you feel
No more.
optimistic?
I don't think Bobby is who I thought he was.
Why?
Just the things that have developed over the last probably 4 to 6 weeks.
All right, we're going to get right into it. It's hard to decipher all this information when it's scattered about. A lot of people commented on the video yesterday or the last video that I did, and they were saying how great Casey is and how they're going to change the world, and they're talking about the food and all that stuff. And I just keep chiming in. I'm letting you guys know you're being played, okay? You're being played. They're going after all the low-hanging fruit, all the while ignoring the elephant in the room, which is the mRNA technology, okay? They're letting that go. Callie won't condemn it and take it off. Casey won't condemn it and take it off. Junior will not condemn it and take it off. These two doctors are going to explain to you why it should be condemned and why it should be taken off immediately. Immediately, right? So just watch this exchange. And I have some more clips for you. Don't go anywhere, because after they get done doing their little talk, right? I'm going to shed some more light on some information, so then maybe you can connect some dots.
The following podcast is an electric conversation between Dr. Jack Cruz, Callie Means, and Dr. Mary Bowden. Dr. Jack Cruz is a neurosurgeon for over 3 decades. Callie Means is a former food lobbyist who famously brokered the partnership between RFK Jr. and Donald Trump before the 2024 presidential election. And Dr. Mary Bowden is a board-certified otolaryngologist specializing in respiratory illnesses. She also treated over 6,000 patients during the recent plague.
There's opportunity, but I don't think the opportunity is being taken to the forefront by you or your sister by pushing the food issue. The big opportunity right now, why people are dying, is SV40.
Here's the problem. The polio vaccine contained a virus called simian virus 40, SV40. It's one of the most carcinogenic materials that is known to man. In fact, it's used now by scientists around the world to induce tumors in rats and guinea pigs in labs. But it was in that vaccine. 98 million people who got that vaccine in my generation got it. And now you've had this explosion of soft tissue cancers in our generation that kill many, 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 many more people than polio ever did.
Cut straight to the chase. You and your sister wrote the book. Tell us why the word vaccine doesn't show up one time in the book.
We are coming off of the biggest public health crisis in our lifetime. And, while I completely agree with your message, I mean, our food supply has a lot to be desired. It's an insidious health problem that's poisoning our kids. I completely agree with that. But the shots are a more immediate and dangerous threat to our population.
Children are still getting the shot today.
Which I think is a crime.
Wait, all babies, this is our own government, are recommended to get 3 mRNA shots, and this is synthetic modified mRNA shots, by the time they're 9 months old.
Right.
And which is
crazy.
And we know that we have an abundance of data. We have over 3,400 peer-reviewed published studies showing adverse reactions. We know that in young people, the increased risk of myocarditis is at least 4 times. This is an immediate threat. And these COVID shots should have been pulled off the market a long time ago. And my feeling is if you have a large microphone and you are in the public health space, that you are ethically obligated to speak out about this issue. And I understand that this is not your issue.
Right.
And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I mean, the trans problem is not my issue, but I authentically feel that this gender modification in children is wrong. So I do speak out about it.
I authentically feel that in any way pushing jabs, particularly on kids, is an absolute war crime, and I've been saying that.
Do you feel like the COVID shots should be pulled off the market?
So that is not a policy stance that I'm going to say. It's not a policy
so
stance.
Are you giving your children? Are you giving your children a shot? Are you going to give your child?
No.
Okay, and why not?
I think that makes no sense.
Why?
From what?
Because you have reluctance about their safety.
Hold on.
Right.
Hold on. Can I respond to this?
Yeah.
So this issue of over prescribing medications for kids, the schedule for kids specifically. Hold on. You seem to be drawing a line of whether I'm calling for an immediate ban as a policy platform versus what I'm saying.
Personally, just personally. Can you just say personally?
Personally, I think it's an absolute travesty how we've been misled, how these were fast tracked.
Personally, do you feel like the shot should be pulled off the market? Yes or no?
I'll give you my personal opinion. I think there should be absolutely no mandates.
So yes,
hold on.
Okay.
I think that we have an opportunity the next year to truly reset science. This is what I feel. And we have an opportunity to have Jay Bhattacharya, who's a close friend, who I, strongly push to be at the NIH, to call everyone together, review the science, have truth and reconciliation, bring that out to people, and have a process for that.
Right. So
I think it's a general. So Jack.
So the answer is no. So the answer is no.
Right.
That is a policy position that I'm calling for the shots to be immediately pulled from the market.
No, you're not answering the question. You're doing exactly what your training
hold on, Jack.
That's the reason we're sitting here.
Jack.
Best way to clean your dog's ears? Q-tips? Nope. Chemical drops? Nope. Ear wipes.
I am saying that as a policy position, I think that we should have absolute data transparency, no mandates.
We have too much data.
Okay,
Danny just had Kevin McKiernan on the damn podcast. Let me talk.
Jack.
You let me talk now.
Hold on.
You let me talk.
Let me ask you a question. And this is not like a debate. I don't see this as a debate. I actually legitimately.
I don't think it's a debate either.
Hold on, Jack. Why are you so angry?
Because I don't trust you.
Okay.
I think you're full of shit. And Mary just uncovered why you're full of shit. Because you can't say yes or no. Let me just tell you something, Callie. When you say to the American public that my children can't have the shot, so we can't say anything for anybody else, to me, that's incongruous.
So you would argue that Trump and Biden should come out, Trump and RFK should come out with an immediate ban of the shot today.
Absolutely. It should have been done a long time ago.
My point
is
was
that your recommendation?
It should have happened with Operation Warp Speed.
It should have happened in the first month.
Correct.
I think as a policy process, we need it. We need to have truth and reconciliation.
Let's talk about the policy process of the swine flu when we had 70 injured kids and we pulled it off the market.
Hold on. What is the debate? I'm saying there should be an immediate review of the data.
That's not the answer.
I'm giving my answer.
Yeah,
Jack.
but that's not the answer.
Let's let Callie finish his thought.
I'm giving my answer. And then I sincerely want to hear from you if you are giving a presentation to the administration, what your detailed argument would be to pull the shots universally today. And that's not like a debate. I actually want to understand what my answer right now is, that the mandates, especially for kids, the mandates in general, are an absolute crime. The way science has been hidden on this is a crime. The way they've been fast-tracked and pushed is a crime. The way they have been covering up other therapeutics is a crime.
But we shouldn't pull it.
Hold on. And that my policy process would be absolute transparency. Absolute transparency.
Do you know how many people died in the first month following the rollout of the COVID shots?
Yes or no?
Jack.
Yes or no?
Jack.
You know the number.
Jack, what's
you're
with the
a
animosity?
lobbyist guy.
No.
Let's go.
Jack, what's with the animosity?
Dude, I told you already.
Let's take a breath.
I don't trust you worth a damn.
Okay. Why?
Well, hold on. Do you know how many people died the first month?
No.
700. And that were
So
reported
it's
to
10x compared to the swine flu that was pulled in 76.
Jack, what would be your argument if you're talking theoretically to a leader who's making this decision?
I just gave it to you.
What would the
just 10x change?
Walk the listeners through, like for the.
No, I don't want to walk the listeners through. I want to walk you through.
Walk me through. Jack, I'm not making these decisions.
I got news for you. I got news for you. The way you sold yourself to the people in DC would say otherwise.
Nobody.
I got news for you. I happen to know that's true.
Okay. So I think you might be getting bad information, but
I don't think so.
I think you are. But what is the argument? This isn't a debate. Like we should get this out.
Well, we would if you just said yes. But we're
that
not.
I want to immediately ban the shots?
Correct. That's the answer.
I don't think that's what the science says. That's not the policy of RFK. That's not the policy of Trump.
RFK. So RFK doesn't want to pull the
No,
shots.
He's not calling to immediately pull it. He's calling for utter truth. Jay Bhattacharya is calling for utter truth. That is what I think we have an opportunity to do. I'm not calling the shots in any way, shape, or form, but I am very passionate, Jack, about transformational change right now and coming up with recommendations for true transformational change. I think the way to change the paradigm on this stuff is, to be frank, absolutely not coming out with immediate bans on things like this. So hold on. I think it is having a national conversation and a reset of science and having a full truth and unbiased science. We both know that the truth right now is that they're not asking these questions, and there's huge cover-up of getting the right information and getting the right data. We all know that. We all know that they've already made recommendations to the American people for kids, and that there's huge institutional pressure to have any data that second guesses the guidance that they've already given to people's children. Imagine, I see it, right? I know about this from my experience, Jack. There's incredible institutional pressure to have anyone look. Well, imagine the liability of that. Imagine the liability if the data you're talking about actually comes out. So that's what we're. Hold on.
This is infuriating.
I think
the data's been sitting there for years now.
Walk us through it.
Hold on a second. I think the obvious biggest problem with this is that nobody can be informed on the truth about it, because I can have somebody in here like Kevin McKiernan, who's an expert in this stuff, and then YouTube will pull the thing off of the internet,
which just happened.
So there's no transparency on one side. Anybody who questions these products on the internet gets completely silenced. I think that is the number one issue,
which is a crime.
We're not going out and banning Fruit Loops. Everybody knows Fruit Loops are bad for you. Everybody knows smoking Newports are bad for you. But people choose to do it.
You have a choice to do it and a choice not to do it.
And I want to say something about RFK, because
the real reason you're stiff after sitting.
If you're over 50, I bet you know what old school toughness.
Yeah, we have been fighting so hard the last 4 years to get this information out to the public. Kennedy was our big hope. Kennedy was he was the one that's going to, get in a position of power. And even if he didn't win the presidency, he has this gigantic microphone. And then all of a sudden, his message shifts, his focus shifts. He's our nuclear bomb. We're in World War III. He's gonna take down Japan. All of a sudden, the nuclear bomb, the target has shifted to food.
Nicole came on and talked a lot about food.
Let me finish. And this coincided with this meteoric rise with Casey and Callie Means, who none of us had seen. I am curious, and don't answer yet because I want to keep talking.
Okay.
But I am curious about what you were doing during the pandemic. But we're not sure, but you came on and great. We love your message. And I have told you this, we want you to join forces with us. But, and I don't, you say it's a purity test. It's an ethical test. I mean, you have this gigantic microphone and you have the ability. I mean, you have the ear of Trump and Kennedy. And I'm also very curious about that.
I wouldn't say that.
You're the one that orchestrated the call between Kennedy and Trump. And Kennedy says this. This is in his speech, that you orchestrated the call between Kennedy and Trump to have Kennedy drop out of the race and endorse Trump. And that is very, how did that happen? Very curious. So
That goes to the
Kennedy's
history.
focus has shifted, and that's our big concern. And it coincides with your rise. I mean, 6 months ago, I looked this up. You had about 19,000 followers on Twitter 6 months ago. Now you have 230 something thousand. It's amazing. Good for you, because you have figured out how to get that information that you want to get that out. And that is commendable. And that's what we all want. We want our message to get out. We can't get it out. And so maybe you could tell us your secrets, how to do that.
We can get into, but high level, do we not feel optimistic about the moment that we're in for true transparency?
No more.
Why don't you feel
No more.
optimistic?
I don't think Bobby is who I thought he was.
Why?
Just the things that have developed over the last probably 4 to 6 weeks. These globalist entities that are being placed in the cabinet right now.
I'm not going
There's
into cabinet.
a lot of
We know that.
If the shots get pulled off the market, a whole industry of biotech is going to go down. It's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So the
I
people
talked
with
about that a lot.
invested.
Now, you heard her say point blank that there was two things going on there. One, if the mRNA got taken away, that all of the bio people, okay, that are, Silicon Valley, this is the new gold for Silicon Valley, by the way, but all the bio people would be very upset. Now, would you be surprised if Casey and Callie were actually part owners in a biotech company?
I want to ask you, the Surgeon General thing, are you for Casey Means or not for Casey Means?
Well, I'll tell you who I am for, Glenn.
Okay.
I'm for all of those Americans, the hundreds of thousands of doctors seeking truth, honesty, and dignity in our medical system. Once again, that is what I'm for. That is what propelled MAHA into existence. That is what propelled Bobby Kennedy into the position of running for president of the United States. That's why I joined the campaign. It really is about listening to this group of doctors that did the right things during the COVID pandemic, that spoke up when it was dangerous to speak up, that lost their licenses. And so when I hear from that base concern or research about individuals in and around MAHA, I have to listen to them. And I do listen to them because oftentimes they are right. They're brave and they're principled. So the concern I've been hearing from that group of people is that MAHA has, any movement, MAGA had this issue too, of infiltration by different groups that are more self-serving than they are for the movement itself. And so just one example, Casey Means is a founder of a company that does biometric harvesting. She's very close with many of the big data biometric harvesting companies in Silicon Valley. And this, I know several of these people. You do not want them running in a government position that is responsible for everybody equally, right?
Okay, so wait. What is bio? What is that? They're harvesting what?
Well, so biometric data is anything between heart rate data to all of the data that is collected from your Fitbit or high glucose monitor. Okay. It could be labs. Okay. It could be, and then there's all the DNA harvesting and big data that's being done. So, I think that the base, MAHA really came from medical freedom and medical sovereignty, and the idea that we have to keep conflicts of interest out of the government. And so when I, see some stuff going on that we could be doing better, right? Our job, and I learned this from the MAGA base, our job is to continue to seek the best possible people for government that are truly putting the principles of this country first, the principles of American sovereignty first.
So you wrote yesterday, it's very strange. It doesn't make any sense. I was promised that if I supported RFK Jr. in the Senate confirmation, that neither of these siblings would be working under HHS or an employment, and that people much more qualified would be. I don't know if RFK very clearly lied to me or what's going on. It has been clear in recent conversations that he is reporting to someone regularly who is controlling his decisions, and it isn't President Trump. With regards to the siblings, there is something very artificial and aggressive about them, almost as if they were bred and raised as Manchurian assets. Wow.
Then RFK Jr.'s nomination would have failed. And Bill Cassidy very openly said, if you want my vote, you need to agree to a long list of limitations on what you can do, and you will be required to meet with me regularly and to include me in decision making. And if you don't, I'm going to call you before this committee and there will be repercussions. And in order to get his vote, RFK agreed to these constraints. And here is Bill Cassidy, when announcing his decision to vote for RFK Jr., saying that he got huge, very extraordinary and unusual concessions from RFK about limitations on his power and the role that Bill Cassidy particularly would play in all HHS decision making.
Mr. Kennedy and the administration committed that he and I would have an unprecedentedly close collaborative working relationship if he is confirmed. We will meet or speak multiple times a month. This collaboration will allow us to work well together and therefore to be more effective. Mr. Kennedy has asked for my input into hiring decisions at HHS beyond Senate confirmed positions, and he has also committed that he would work within current vaccine approval and safety monitoring systems and not establish parallel systems. If confirmed, he will maintain the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recommendations without changes.
Interests in mRNA are going to use every tactic they can to keep it alive.
Yes.
And so that's why we're suspicious. And maybe you're an unwitting agent.
Yeah.
Maybe they're using you and you have no idea.
Maybe.
But we just there's a technique called misdirection. It's a war technique.
Right.
And it just kind of all falls into place.
But gaming this out. So we write a book eviscerating the pharmaceutical industry. We go on podcasts eviscerating the pharmaceutical industry. I think you're giving me way too much credit, but I do whatever I help to put these ideas to help.
Holly, did the pharmaceutical industry distribute the job? No. Department of Defense did. So who's the pharmaceutical industry in this story? They were just the drug dealers. Not interested in the United States, just so you know.
It's very imperfect. It's very imperfect, but it's like...
I don't have the interests. Like, incentives dictate outcomes.
Yeah.
My incentives aren't for the United States, my friend. When you're decentralized, my interests are where Mary's are.
Okay.
In the office with the patient.
And
right now, the number
for that. Okay, this situation affected every single American, right? It's a gigantic problem, and it's being swept under the rug. That is why we are so riled up and so passionate and so mistrustful, because it affected every American. It didn't obviously affect
Mary,
you as
I've
much
shown
as
where my heart is. I've shown where my heart is.
I agree that it affected you. Why? Because you got on a podcast and said, I took 60 billion copies and I'm okay with it.
No. I didn't say I'm okay with it.
No, I'm saying you're okay with it. You rolled your sleeve up. You complied. I mean, what I'm saying to you, as a guy who's a lobbyist, who knows how bad the actors are.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, if you want to get into my specific...
No, I don't want to get into it. What I'm trying to say to you is to prove her point. That's how successful the propaganda was.
Oh, yeah.
That's why this is an issue for everybody in America.
Right.
Even Callie Means fell prey to this with your message. I would think that after this podcast, that maybe you would reflect a little bit on that and say, maybe I should have talked a little bit about this issue and what that means that one time. Like the saddest outcome for this podcast is I don't want, listen to me. I don't want to see what happened to your mom happen to you. I certainly do not want that outcome for you. And the thing is, I need you to understand that outcome, based on Kevin McKiernan's science and confirmed by multiple labs, that's a real risk for Callie Beans, not a small risk. a pretty big risk. And you did a good job in this podcast saying, yeah, I'm not doing that again. I'm not letting my family do that again. So that's a good thing. It means that you took your punch in the mouth and learned the lesson. But what you have to realize as the lobbyist talking to two doctors, that our job is to advocate for our patients. And when we see somebody floating more on the political side, you need to understand where we're coming from.
This banana peel isn't garbage. It's a resource because I have a mill food recycler.
I told you, I know your heart, and we've connected today. I think
we've made some progress.
A bit conspiratorial, but I think I am coming because it is super reasonable, and I think it's high stakes. And where do we go from here? I don't.
You're going to go back to Trump and tell him that he needs to take the shots off the market.
Trump, like Casey has not even been involved with this. Really.
I'm going to tell you the bare minimum. This is what I would say. For me, I think that you need to talk about. I think Danny needs to get you a copy of McKiernan's.
So yeah,
and then what I'd really like for you to do is you stew in those tomatoes for a while and really understand what it means.
Also, we've talked about Kevin McKiernan quite a bit, but I don't think we've really alluded. So like the elevator pitch of like his background is he sort of blew the whistle on when he got his hands on some vials of the actual Pfizer vaccine. And he discovered in his lab that there were DNA plasmid contamination inside.
Not just that, the SV40 promoter.
Right.
And if you go look at the FDA, it was never disclosed to the FDA.
So,
in fact, it was taken out with a molecular tool so that the FDA couldn't find it.
Right.
So the FDA never knew about this and then found out about it later. And it turned out Kevin was the one that pointed it out, that the evidence was actually in the data, but they didn't.
Right.
They didn't talk about it.
And Kevin is a super reasonable guy. I mean, he's got a really strong background in this stuff in DNA and the Human Genome Project. And he has a very reasonable approach to this thing. The way he lays it out, it's very compelling. And he's simply just stating data. He's not like
he's not incentivized.
Right.
Good. God,
Before we go, this is the last thing I want to show you guys. This is Cruz, Dr. Jack Cruz. After that interview, okay, he's reflecting back on it, and he put out this statement here, and I'll close the video out with this. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed. They're unsubscribing people to our channel. Make sure you share this video with your friends so people can get all three sides of the coin, okay? Because the Joe Rogan stuff and the Tucker Carlson stuff were very feel-good. Okay, they were saying the things that you want to hear. Everybody knows that the food is a problem. Heck, Dr. Atkins was talking about all the stuff that Casey's been talking about. And then where did they come from? They just popped on the scene. They're on Tucker Carlson, whose dad was in the CIA and was responsible for propaganda. Go look this stuff up. I don't make it up. Can't make this stuff up. And I'm not going to tell you what to think, but I have given you plenty to think about. Share this video with your friends. Make sure you're subscribed. If you found value in this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. There's this stuff, y'all, they have this stuff planned and gamed out, okay? They're leading us to where they want to go every single day. And it's up to you, right? To just learn this information and then act accordingly. Okay, see you guys on the next video.
These two jackasses that have showed up on the scene, and I got to be honest, I'm going to call Bobby out on this. Callie and Cassie Means, they're not who you think they are at all. Okay, they're actors that are part of this plan. Go look at some of my tweets that I put out in the last several days. Go look at the blog that I just released today. It lays the case out who they're working for. Why? It's better to blame food than the jabs for what's really coming. Why? Because that buys them more time to get control of that Supreme Court. You need to know who their father is. He writes a book about transgenderism. Well, how is that anything good for, decentralization? And you need to understand that they're part of the Council on Foreign Relations, their whole family. It's actually on Callie Means' page. You got to start asking yourself questions. These two come from Stanford, linked to DARPA. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to know that these two people show up in the ninth inning of a game screaming the same thing that most people in the paleo community or ancestral health have been screaming about for 20 years, and nobody paid attention to them. And all of a sudden, Tucker Carlson puts them on TV, and we're supposed to kiss. Dude, this is part of psyops that's going on, and people need to wake up. People like Tucker. They like Joe Rogan. Well, just remember, Callie and Cassie Means are right up there right away. I've already told Nicole myself, beware of those two. Absolutely. Because all they're doing is buying the people they work for more time. And no, you don't have more time if you're listening to what I'm saying. There's a reason I put the target on my back.
If your neck looks like this, you need to watch this video. When you sit at your desk or use your phone, your head protrudes forward. And for every inch your head protrudes forward, an additional 10 pounds of force is added to the neck. It's the equivalent of a bowling ball. Over time,
All right. So there you have it. RFK called out. Callie and Cassie Means. Ninth inning additional players. RFK exposed for the control that he had over him in agreeing to get the funds he needed to even run for president. And then this guy shows up and talks him out of it and joining Trump. So here we are. Dr. Jack Krause says we should have pulled the jab during Operation Warp Speed, and it didn't happen. And they make a very distinct they take a very distinct position on the fact that the pharmaceutical companies were nothing but the drug dealer, and the Department of Defense is the one who distributed the vaccine. Yeah, the Department of Defense, the military, everybody wants to come and save them, are the ones they're very responsible for that end of, and much more. Okay. They talked about the Fitbits and the different data gathering monitors that they use on the body and your phone as well to gather this data to create the psyop of continuation of the mRNA and much more. Okay. All of these things Sabrina Wallace has talked about and told us. They're turning this into transhumans through these devices, and they're gathering the data not only to push AI into taking the lead. Yes, DOD is in charge of school lunch. That's exactly right, Nadine. But guys, don't let this overwhelm you. All right, we all knew that the jab should have been pulled during Operation Warp Speed as well. It wasn't. We can't go silent on it, okay? When we gain the knowledge that we have right now, we have to understand that the military-industrial complex is going to continue thanks to AI and the gaming out of the script. You heard him say it right there in Danny's podcast. And thank you to Doug and Stacy for sharing that and the breakdown the way they did. That helped a lot of people see it in a different light. And hopefully, this gets shared out. This gets shared out tonight because really, I mean, we have moved mountains. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about tonight is the reason why we started all this. And that's the children. Considering that we have quote unquote elected officials going on stage and ousting each other and not blinking while they're doing it. You know, $100 million accepted from big pharmaceutical, from big pharma, and then turning around in the same breath, just about saying that he can't be bought out. The reason why these things are becoming so absurd is because they don't want you to realize that the children is what they're after. Okay, the children is what they're after. They can continue to sigh up and subdue the elderly. Okay, not that a lot of elderly are still being falling for it. There's a lot of elderly that are woken up to it, right? The thing is we have a voice, and we all have to start using our voice. But the children is the reason why we do this. We just need 7 generations to complete this. 7 generations to complete this. We probably already got 3 in the works. All right. Am I saying the shit show is going to continue for 7 till we do have 7 generations? No, it can't. Okay, the collapse is inevitable. That comes with the knowledge, the esoteric knowledge of Piscean age to Aquarian age. Okay, undeniable. Matriarch going into a matriarch or back to the matriarch from a patriarch. All right, no longer squashing the female, right? And what is the females passionate about? What do these mama bears care about the most? Is their children. Is their children. So you're going to hear some things over the coming weeks that are not only going to help lead you to creating a community or being a part of a community like here at Truth Seekers that will help serve the people of that community and no longer serve the government and its frills the way we have been enslaved to do. Okay. That's right. It's the babies, right, Molly? It's the babies, Molly. Amen. Okay. We are in this for the children. Okay. Our elderly are needed. Our generation is part of the bridging of the gap to the youth. Okay, we're talking about college age children, college age kids. All right. Yeah, a lot of us think are indoctrinated, but they're waking up at an alarming rate. Not an alarming rate, at a very pleasant rate. During all this shit show, the absurdity of it is really starting to stand out to them. And as we get the bridge from the elderly, which is where the wisdom lies, it gets shared down or along to, I hate the word sharing down because we don't want anybody above the other. That's not the goal. But it gets, it's already been proven, Donna. He took the money. All right. We've already proved it. The sheepdogs are having technical difficulties. But we'll get into that on some more and some more shows coming up. Yes, Gen X is the main group, right? We're the bridge. We're in between both, right? We got our arms out and we're bridging the gap, right? Between wisdom and knowledge and heart and growth and going within. Okay. It's not an easy thing to go within. It's not an easy thing to sit here and especially the mama bears to know that their children are in line to this crazy shit. And we haven't been able to, do our part to clean it up. The baby boomers are pretty much the elderly. Okay. We some of them do, some of them don't. The female, there's a lot of females in our group, in our tribe, which is going to be an official tribe before long here. I'm working on it daily. But a lot of the female elderly in our tribes, they really understand. Now, for a long time, they were scared to get out and say and do, but they're starting to get over that too. Yeah, the glass tea is good, Laura. Right on, Mary. Tell them, Mary, you let them know you're here to fight with us. Oh, here's Sheepdog. Take your time getting in, Sheepdog. Let me know if you need me to add. Okay, there you are. Janine is a boomer, right? All right. See, we got boomers here. They're ready to stand up. Okay, but this is about the children. All right, and it's about not letting these early on generations that are being born into these first three generations that are born into this transition period. Yeah, truth doesn't care about your feelings. Right on.
Neither does the Constitution.
Yeah, neither does the Constitution, right? Yeah. Scruffy Lou's a baby boomer. She's a fighter too. She's a spry gal. She'll tell you about it in a minute. Satch said, "I'm older than a boomer." Wow.
Yeah, the boomers are hard to get through to. They're kind of set in their ways, and so be grateful that the veil was lifted if you're a boomer.
So that's how as Sheepdog gets ready to share what he's going to share. If you feel up to it, still, Sheepdog.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but there's some boomer warriors here, that's for sure. Yeah, not all of them, but there is some definitely boomer warriors, right? Old as dust and piss rust, Mike Penny. Right on. Oh, excuse me, Sheepdog. I'm a boomer, and I tell you like it is.
There you go.
Right on.
I didn't even know what a boomer was until a few days ago.
Right. But we can't let these next 7 generations of children inherit this mess. Okay. Divinity is a word that we need to understand, along with sovereignty. At its fullest. Do we need to know every letter of the law when it comes to sovereignty? No. We just need to start learning. And it'll come as we practice, right? It'll come as we practice. Many of you are standing up to property taxes, to mortgage fraud, so on and so forth. And cheating. Cheating said, "I'm Gen X, so stand back, bitches." Right. 8 kids in your family, Peggy. Wow, that's awesome. Yep. Jack Love, you're on the borderline. 66 is on the borderline of the boomers. Sheepdog, just let me know when you're ready, buddy.
Yeah, I'm trying to open Telegram right now.
Yeah.
It'll just take a minute.
All right, no problem. Take your time. I'm not rushing you.
I'm having some issues tonight.
So, yeah, right. We held it down. We played Doug and Stacy's video, which is, I thought was straight fire, right? About
yeah,
the mRNA.
Oh yeah, they confronted that guy. The doctors are really trying hard, but it's these people that have money invested in that stuff that are just wanting to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
About
No, it's not time to talk anymore.
No, we're done.
Yep.
There's a conflict of interest here, sir.
Yep.
If you want to pull up, Mike, if you could, I sent you pretty much everything I have. I don't know why Telegram's just not here to me. You want to share?
All right. Which one you want to pull up first?
Let's go with the RFK calling out Trump for taking $100 million donation from Big Pharma.
Okay. All right, I hit on that, but we'll go back to it.
Yeah, let's do the article, and then did you show the video proof of him?
Yeah, I showed the video. Yeah, I didn't get into the article.
Okay. Well, I only found one article on it because everybody I've guessed missed it.
Right.
Because of I think it's some kind of spell they got on the people. They hear it, but they can't hear it. I seen a podcaster bring up that video, but he didn't point out the fact that RFK said, and you took $100 million from Big Pharma. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah. So, Sheepdog found this article, folks, and I didn't share it a while ago, but this is backup for what we just saw as well with the $100 million from Big Pharma. RFK Jr. admitting Big Pharma paid Trump $100 million, leaves internet stunned. Was that a Freudian slip? The president, meanwhile, nodded in agreement. U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. seemingly revealed Big Pharma paid President Donald Trump $100 million, but added he can't be bought.
Yeah.
The president. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. $400 million jet later.
Right. The president and RFK Jr. held a joint press conference in the White House on Monday to reveal an executive order that plans to dramatically reduce the cost of prescription drugs for Americans. While speaking, the health secretary discussed Trump's previous business dealings with some of the pharmaceutical industry's biggest players. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave him $100 million, RFK Jr. said, while turning back to address the president, who nodded and hummed in agreement. But he can't be bought, the health secretary added. And then it goes on to say, as clips of the exchange circulated across social media platforms, many questioned whether the pair meant to expose how much Trump has accepted from pharmaceutical and lobbying interest. Wow, was that the Freudian slip or did he glitch? A TikTok user wondered, right? I guess Doji missed that, another added. RFK Jr. seemingly intended to show that although Trump accepted the money, he did not follow through on the company's interest. However, pharmaceutical stocks rose sharply after the announcement, prompting speculation that the executive order may be more symbolic than substantive. We don't completely discount the possibility that the EO could eventually lead to some one-off deals, but the order itself is so vague that it's difficult to predict the exact impact it may have. Kim Monk, a managing director of Capital Alpha Partners, told Axios. Other experts speculated the press conference was an attempt to distract Americans from Republicans' ongoing effort to cut Medicaid. That is probably as good of an explanation as any, Chris Meekins, an analyst at Raymond James told Axios. And, that pretty much ends the article here for us. But, somewhere along the lines, Axios had an article out on it too, okay? So they're out there. The articles are out there, but right now they're only letting this one be found.
Well, that's the only person with the balls enough to put it out or that caught it. And everybody else is in some kind of trance.
Right.
I mean, it's clear as day if you play the video, and which I'm probably fixing to do here in a second. And I didn't catch it at first. I caught it the second time I listened to it on another channel, but even the other podcaster didn't even catch it. I was like, holy shit, you just missed it. I rewound it. I said, did he say that? Here, let me add it to the screen. It just blew my mind.
All right.
So they made an image of Trump.
I'm going to hit the restroom right quick. All right.
All right. All they did was they made an image of the beast. They made an image of Trump, just like in the Bible. We're in the end times type thing is what they're playing out for us. And that's what the people are worshiping. They says they'll worship an image of the beast. And that's what we're seeing right now.
This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major.
Just for notes, he's the same height as him, and he should be 6'4". He should be up here.
Democratic leader for 20 years been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry.
Congress is controlled by Big Pharma, APAC, etc.
There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator in Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million.
Okay. They gave him $100 million. Ain't that a conflict of interest? And if you go back and look at the things that took place during COVID and before, everything that was laid out, everybody knew that this was coming. Fauci knew this was coming. Jeb Bush knew this was coming during the debates, Republican debates. Trump was standing next to him when he said it. So they knew all this was coming. So what they did, Trump sent a lot of money to the hospitals unchecked. A lot of people died in those hospitals from the ventilators, according to reports. And remdesivir and the protocols. We had some vaccine injuries right after people took them. Some people passed, et cetera, et cetera. It's still on the shelf. There's more mRNA vaccines coming down the pipe. And one of Trump's first news conferences was with the people wanting to bring in the cure for cancer, but with AI, right? So that's the concern. They're still targeting little kids. The kids are getting whelps on their arms, stuff like that. So what? So, I can't talk about this on. Well, whatever. Anyways, I don't care. They can do whatever they want on YouTube. But let's play this again.
The courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. Yes. But he can't be bought.
But yep, we got a $400 million jet coming from Qatar. We did an arms deal when he was over there. We got a real estate deal as well for Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a big issue here, a national security issue. We have a situation where Trump has now put himself in a position to where somebody may have a detonator on that plane. We may see some stupid shit take place, a plane go down or something. Who knows? But it's a really dangerous situation. But we're going to go into the constitutionality part of it. But I wanted people to see this out of RFK Jr.'s own mouth. And this is what most people are ignoring. You have right-wing propagandists, you have left-wing propagandists. Regardless of what the truth is, they won't steer from their party. The left wing only talks about the right wing, and the right wing only calls out the left wing, but neither side calls out themselves. But here we are as people that have come to the center without a bias and looked at both sides and said, y'all are both fucked up. And nothing gets done because they constantly blame each other. Oh, it's the Democrats. Oh, it's the Republicans. You can even hear it in the people in our communities. Oh, it's them damn old Democrats. Oh, it's them freaking Republicans. Well, I mean, who is it? You know, they both take money from AIPAC, Big Pharma. They're all united. We had a few things take place where they seem like mortal enemies, but in the background, they're united with Israel. On TV, they propagandize us and keep us divided. But let me go to the constitutional side of what's taking place here and what was violated. They're doing it in your face, and people are still in denial because I don't know why. So while presidents can receive gifts from foreign nations, there are strict rules and regulations governing this process, primarily to prevent corruption. So Trump, they're bringing it forefront so everybody can see it. Or the appearance of undue influence. Here's a breakdown. The foreign emoluments clause, the U.S. Constitution foreign emoluments clause, Article 1, Section 9, generally prohibits federal office holders from accepting gifts, emoluments, benefits, or titles from foreign states without congressional approval. So they bypass Congress on this. That's why Pam Bondi prevented the FBI from looking into things like this. So we're literally seeing in a dictatorship where there's no more checks and balances. And at the rate it's going, we got midterms coming up and the Democrats are going to take it. And when they do, then you're going to see the Republicans cry, foul, foul. Whoa, hey, that's unconstitutional. Well, it's too late because you allowed it to take place. And it started with the immigrants. Whenever a system has you attacking someone lower on a totem pole, more than likely you're being manipulated by somebody higher on a totem pole. Due process is due process. It doesn't matter about your feelings. So it seems like a hard lesson that's going to be learned. But if y'all don't wake up, or whoever the hell that calls Mike's a Trump hater, if you don't wake up, you're going to wake up, and it's not going to be good. So the Foreign Gifts and Decorations Act, the Foreign Gifts and Decorations Act of 1966, along with subsequent legislation, provides a framework for managing foreign gifts to federal employees, including the president. Gifts of minimal value. Federal employees, including the president, can accept gifts of minimal value from foreign governments, typically defined as like souvenirs or maybe like a courtesy gift below. Gifts below a certain dollar amount, currently valued at under $480, can be retained. So Trump blew that out of the water by $400 million. Gifts or greater value, gifts exceeding minimal value are considered gifts to the United States, not the individual. The president can, so the gift, according to the reports, it was gifted to the DOD, right? Well, the DOD is the one that did Operation Warp Speed, that fast-tracked the bioweapons. So gifts of greater value, gifts exceeding minimal value are considered gifts to the United States, not the individual. The president can choose to purchase the gift at a fair market value to keep it. Otherwise, the gift is typically transferred to the National Archives or another appropriate government entity. Protocol and diplomacy. Presidents often receive gifts during official visits as a matter of diplomatic protocol. Refusing a gift could be seen as offensive or damaging to U.S. foreign relations. So acceptance is sometimes necessary, but the gift still belongs to the United States corporation. Transparency and disclosure. Federal law requires executive branch officials to disclose foreign gifts valued at over a certain threshold, currently $480. In summary, while presidents can accept gifts from foreign nations, they cannot personally benefit from them without adhering to strict rules and regulations, primarily designed to ensure transparency, prevent corruption, and safeguard the U.S. interest. All right. So what's going on here with Qatar? We see, let me go up here. Right here, we see Pam Bondi, and I titled it, "Is Trump Really Draining the Swamp?" Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Qatar agent. I'm going to open that article because I got the articles, newsweek.com. Let me open this article, show you where Pam Bondi's lobbying for Qatar explained. President-elect Donald Trump's new pick for Attorney General once earned $115,000 a month as a registered foreign lobbyist for the Qatar government, which has often been accused of human rights abuses. She worked for Qatar in 2020 during the run-up to the 2022 Soccer World Cup, when the state introduced new laws to end one of the most abusive elements of the country's labor system. The highly successful executive and former Florida Attorney General faces intense scrutiny after stepping in when former Florida Republican Matt Gaetz stepped down from the nomination as U.S. Attorney General on Thursday amid a storm of controversy and allegations of sexual misconduct, which he denied. So what did they use with Matt Gaetz? The blackmail stuff that Pam Bondi has on her desk still that isn't being released, or allowing maybe she's not even allowing the FBI to take a look at it, because right here it says Pam Bondi ends FBI effort to combat foreign influence in U.S. politics. Is that what you voted for? Did you want more foreign influence in your politics? I don't think so. So if you can't be upset with the image of the beast, Trump, then you need to be looking left and right of him at his staff, his administration, constantly gaslighting the people. But let me finish it right here, this article. So I had to get that open. Pam will focus the DOJ on its intended purpose of fighting crime and make America safe again, Donald Trump said in a statement following the announcement. "I have known Pam for many years. She is a smart, tough, and is an America First fighter who will do a terrific job as Attorney General." Bullshit. Her record shows quite different. A close ally of Trump, Bondi is a partner at Ballard's Partners, a lobbying and government affairs firm founded by Brian Ballard, who has been referred to as the most powerful lobbyist in Trump's Washington. These are good. What I'm presenting right now, these are good research things you need to go look into. These people, they're showing you everything. Her work with Qatar government began in 2019 for a fee of $115,000 per month. According to an amendment to a consulting services agreement posted on X, formerly Twitter, by journalist Michael Tracy, Department of Justice documents also show she was tasked with providing advice and counsel and other assistance with respect to efforts to combat human trafficking. Newsweek has contacted representatives of Bondi for comment via email and confirmation. All right. And she gets into office. However, after just 4 months, Bondi severed ties with Ballard Partners as well as the Qatar government in November of 2019 to take up a temporary position in the White House's counsel's office. At the time, so she quit working with Qatar and then went into the White House counsel's office. Is that conflict of interest? At the time, Trump was facing his impeachment trial for alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress after a House inquiry found that he sought foreign interference in the 2020 election to aid his re-election, obstructing the investigation by directing officials to ignore subpoenas. Trump pleaded not guilty to the charges and was acquitted by the Senate. Bondi later returned to Ballard Partners following the conclusion of the implementation of the impeachment trial in March 2020, resuming her lobbying for the Qatar government. Man, she went right back to work. According to Justice Department's documents. So keep in mind, after that second impeachment, they came out, they couldn't get rid of him, so they came out with the bio. That was the next thing. Pelosi came out, made the announcement, and signaled the start of it. This all goes back to Event 201 in 2019, October, where they simulated the pandemic. You can go check it out on YouTube, Event 201. And you can see how they simulated the whole pandemic 6 months before it even started. Her registration with the Qatar government is no longer active, though she remains affiliated with Ballard Partners, according to the New York Times. She is currently registered as a lobbyist for law enforcement. So law enforcement lobbies also your Congress as well to pass stricter laws, and they also want to come for your guns. She's definitely a red flag gun law individual. She's also about gun control. She is currently registered as a lobbyist for law enforcement. They lobby your politicians to violate your constitutional rights. Related clients, including an association representing some of the country's largest sheriff's offices and another group representing sheriffs in Florida, as well as Florida's sheriff's self-insurance program. Qatar, the world's wealthiest country, has come under scrutiny in the past for its poor human rights record. So they have a poor human rights records, but she's telling you that she's all about saving the kids, right? And they're going to, her and Crash Patel are going to really go after these pedophiles, right? But yet they tell us that the list can't come out because they're protecting the children, which is bullshit because the evidence doesn't show that. The evidence shows that you're protecting the pedophiles. That's all it's about. These are elites that have been in these videos. They're saying even Epstein was a cannibalist, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really a deep rabbit hole that could really, damage the country. So they're really keeping a tight lid on this. The system has been criticized by human rights organizations for creating opportunities to exploit workers, including wage theft, forced labor, and exploitation, according to Amnesty International. However, the country passed laws in 2020, which mean workers in Qatar may now change jobs without needing to obtain their employer's permission, ending one of the most criticized elements of the country's labor system. The government also announced an increase in the minimum wage. The UN's International Labor Organization, ILO, said at the time that the new law effectively dismantles the kafala sponsorship system and marks the beginning of a new era of the Qatar labor market. A Florida native, Pam Bondi, served as the state attorney general for 8 years, from 2011 to 2019. Well, guess what happened then? When she was attorney general, she gave Epstein a slap on his wrist. Why do you think he got off? You can go look it up. She also acted as a surrogate on the 2024 campaign trail and led the legal arm of the America First Policy Institute, a think tank aligned with Trump. You know what we know about those think tanks. She replaced former Florida Rep Matt Gaetz, because they had blackmail on him, as Trump's nominee, so she can get in there and block. That's why we got the same list again, in my opinion, and called Phase 1. Those are all Ghislaine Maxwell documents. Trump's nominee for attorney general after he withdrew from consideration on Thursday. Gaetz was considered Trump's most controversial cabinet nominee, given that he was the subject of a House Ethics Committee investigation into whether he engaged in drug use and sex trafficking. Remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene said, if we're going to release Matt Gaetz, let's release it all. And we still haven't got it, right? So I give Marjorie that much credit. They know what they did to Matt. But Pam Bondi just had to get back in there, didn't she? The Qatar agent. What if some of those Saudis are on that list and Pam's there to protect that from coming out? The panel launched its investigation after DOJ closed a criminal probe into whether Gaetz violated federal sex trafficking laws and obstructed justice. No charges were filed against him. Gaetz has vehemently denied all allegations as he spent Wednesday meeting with the Republican senators who have been instrumental in his confirmation. So Gaetz right now is working for another news thing. I think it's can't remember what it is. OAN. He has a show on there. So they accused him of it. No charges were filed, and that was it, right? So now Pam Bondi's in there. What did Pam Bondi do? Pam Bondi ends the FBI effort to combat foreign influence in U.S. politics. Is this what everybody voted for? The order also covers prosecutions of Americans who improperly lobby for foreign nations. President Donald Trump says Republicans were unfairly targeted in the past. All right. So in a little notice directive on her first day in office, Attorney General Pam Bondi ordered a halt to a years-old federal law enforcement effort to combat secret influence campaigns by China, Russia, and other adversaries that try to curry favor and sow chaos in American politics. But let's also add AIPAC in there and every other country. Now Qatar. So buried on the fourth page of the you notice that this newspaper article can't call out Israel, right? So buried on the fourth page of one of the 14 policy memos Bondi issued Wednesday, the order disbands the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force and pars back enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, despite years of warnings by U.S. intelligence agencies that foreign malign influence operations involving disinformation were a growing and dangerous threat to free resources to address more pressing priorities and end risk of further weaponization and abuses of prosecutorial discretion. The Foreign Influence Task Force shall be disbanded, the order states. So she didn't care what the intelligence agency said. She still went full force with it. It also states that criminal charges for violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which requires people to register when lobbying on behalf of a foreign nation, shall be limited to instances of alleged conduct similar to more traditional espionage by foreign government actors. The order adds that DOJ prosecutors instead shall focus on civil enforcement, regulatory initiatives, and public guidance. A separate Bondi directive also disbanded efforts to seize the assets of Russian oligarchs, including the task force Klepto Capture and the Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative. The order said that the personnel working on those projects will be reassigned to target drug cartels and transnational criminal organizations. Forfeiture cases already underway will continue to be pursued, officials said. 3 squads of around 50 FBI agents and support personnel for the Foreign Influence Task Force are now looking for other assignments. An FBI official with knowledge of the matter told NBC News. A Justice Department spokesperson said Bondi was traveling Thursday and that the order speaks for itself. Created under Trump, created in 2017, and the Trump administration, the FBI task force and its efforts to call out foreign disinformation was announced to a standing ovation by then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein in a speech at a national security conference. The American people have a right to know if foreign governments are targeting them with propaganda, Rosenstein said at the time. Former Justice Department and FBI officials worked on national security expressed shock at this week's order. It's astounding, said Frank Figliuzzi. I can't pronounce that, so I apologize, Frank. Former head of FBI counterintelligence and NBC News contributor. It's now a free-for-all for foreign intel services seeking influence. David Loftman, who headed the DOJ's counterintelligence section in the Obama administration, said the order raises serious questions about the new Attorney General's commitment to criminal enforcement when appropriate under long-standing law, as well as her commitment overall to combating malign foreign influence operations in the United States. The first FBI director Trump appointed, Christopher Wray, y'all know Wray, right? Like Ray Charles, can't see shit. Long warned about the dangers of covert foreign influence campaigns, said they were often designed to deepen American political divisions. The Chinese government is engaged in a broad, diverse campaign of the theft and malign influence, and it can execute that campaign with authoritarian efficiency, Ray said in 2021. Last year, Justice Department prosecutors and FBI agents exposed an alleged scheme in which the Russian-backed media funneled $10 million to a conservative U.S. media company that hired prominent right-wing influencers. There we go. Remember, we got a lot of those podcasters, right-wing influencers. I can't think of right off of their name. The guy that wears the beanie, I can't think of his name right now. But allegedly that's how these guys are operating. They got the big studios and stuff like that.
Ben
And
Shapiro.
Well, yeah, it could be one, but he's Israel. Tim
Yeah.
Pool.
Tim Pool. There we go.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe Tim Pool. So you're right wing. That's what I'm saying. You got paid right wingers and paid left wingers, and they're not tell you the truth because they're taking sides. They're taking some money, and they can only say certain things. That's why when you speak up on certain things, they shut you down. Although they are related, and government efforts of tackling foreign influence and prosecuting Foreign Agent Registration Act violations have drawn the ire of President Trump and Republicans for different reasons. The act required people engaged in political activities to make periodic public disclosure of their relationship with the foreign principal. So they got to disclose to the people periodically of their relationships. So, and the people need to know this too, so that they can understand why the person is holding the line on the propaganda they're pushing. The Justice Department has prosecuted both Democrats and Republicans under the foreign lobbying law. 3 recent prosecutions carried out during the Biden administration involved Democratic politicians against New York Mayor Eric Adams, Rep. Henry Collier of Texas, and former Senator Robert Mendez of New Jersey, who was convicted and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Now think about that. Robert Mendez got locked up faster than anybody on the Epstein list. So you can't tell me the justice system isn't quick at when it wants to be and locking people up. It's just slow when it comes to that these bigger cases like the Hunter Biden laptop, the Wiener laptop, this laptop, all these different things that they're still holding. You see how Mendez is already in prison for 8 years, facing charges of corruptly acting on behalf of organizations in Turkey, Mexico, and Egypt, and failing to register as a foreign agent. Adams and Collier, who are both awaiting trial, have denied the charges. Republican skepticism of criminal FARA prosecutions dates to the early days of the first Trump administration, when his national security advisor, Michael Flynn, was caught up in a criminal investigation and eventually admitted to lying about his work for the Turkish government. Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, also pleaded guilty to FARA violations involving Ukraine. Both men were later pardoned by Trump. Imagine that. Imagine that, right? The Justice Department has continued to pursue FARA prosecutions, including some against people with ties to Trump. Last month, GOP former House Speaker Bob Livingston published an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal in which he described an agonizing process of being the target of a FARA investigation that ultimately did not result in charges. Republicans have also expressed outrage that Hunter Biden was never charged with a FARA violation, despite never registering as a foreign agent. During his lucrative work on behalf of foreign governments, his lawyers maintain he was not lobbying and not required to register, something Republicans dispute. So here we go. But this is why Pam Bondi's lifted all this stuff so they could keep doing their dirt. Debate, and she's part of the dirt. Debate over foreign disinformation. Trump and some of his allies have long downplayed or made false statements about the Russian interference in the 2016 selection that was documented by Special Counsel Robert Mueller and a bipartisan report by the Senate Intelligence Committee. Trump allies bitterly opposed the effort by the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force to alert social media companies to disinformation on their platforms, a key aspect of the FBI's work in this area. That dispute came to a head in 2023 when a Missouri federal judge ruled that the FBI and other government agencies had been violating the First Amendment by flagging foreign influence and disinformation to social media companies and urging them to take it down. In the wake of that ruling, the task force stopped briefing social media companies about foreign influence campaigns on their platforms. The Supreme Court later repudiated that view and overturning the Missouri judge's ruling, and the briefings resumed. Hunter Biden also features in this dispute. Republicans complained that the FBI left the impression with social media companies that stories about Biden's laptop during the 2020 campaign may have been the product of a Russian foreign influence operation when some in the FBI knew the laptop was genuine. Andrew Bakaj, a lawyer and former U.S. intelligence officer who represented the whistleblower who reported on Trump's attempt to solicit help from Ukraine to influence the 2020 U.S. election, accused Trump of opening the door to foreign countries, aiding future campaigns by himself or his party. Voters and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle should rise to the defense of our democracy when one side unilaterally dismantles the team charged with preventing it, said Bakaj Bakshi. Blinding our law enforcement to these threats is an open invitation to foreign powers to help the president and his allies win future elections. Okay, so we go right here. Check this out. Right here. So we got the plane. We've seen what Pam Bondi has put in place. She lifted all that. She's been in and out of the office before the impeachments, and then after. Well, this foreign agent the whole time. We got right here, Trump cater funds terrorism at a very high level. Trump, yeah, and I'm going to play his remarks here in a second. It's going to let it pull up. So. In 2017, Trump says that Qatar is a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in 2025, he then turns around and picks up a $400 million plus jet from them, green lighted by Pam Bondi. Is he really comfortable flying that jet? Is my question. And where did the 2017 Trump go? Or maybe he's, here we go. Let me shut this. So we're going to hear it out of his mouth. I'd rather y'all hear it out of his mouth.
So while he's bringing that up, the thing to understand is this is not a bash Trump session. This is making you aware of what the matrix is, the corporation is capable of if we allow them to continue the narrative. Yeah, we've already won, but that doesn't mean they're going to go away easily. Okay? He's doing his job by liquidating the assets of the corporation, however quirky or screwed up it may look. But if you let him or anyone else usurp the Constitution, then you are going to continue to lose your rights from the Bill of Rights and the ability to stand in power through sovereignty with the Constitution as one of the resources. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep, and that's why I'm trying to warn the people. You guys are allowing the Constitution to be trampled on, and when it comes time for these the other party to get control, you're going to be screaming stop, and it's going to be too late because you can't put down your loyalty to a party instead of the people.
Right.
But it's all a psyop. You were supposed to stand up as soon as the first person's rights are violated, then all of our rights are violated. That's how you should look at it. Don't let the damn TV psyop in you and thinking a bunch of immigrants came across the border are the only issue in this country. It's the people trafficking them. It's the guns and drugs that we put into their countries that cause them to have to flee because of the violence and shit over there. Y'all don't know about that. They don't tell you that. They created this shit, and now they're in a pickle trying to deflect from the real issues. mRNA vaccines being released. You got goddamn cannibals and rapists and adrenochrome and organ harvesting and politicians are bought and paid for. Your judges, your law enforcement's lobbying politicians to get stricter laws passed on you, gun laws, et cetera, et cetera. They're not pro Second Amendment, even though they run on it and they say they're constitutionalists, but they're not. Still got the Patriot Act still in full effect, needs to be repealed. You still got Smith-Mundt Act propaganda still running on the people, and that's why the people are calling people Trump haters and Trump this, and you're a Democrat and liberal if you point out any of this stuff. And I've had people on X call me a liberal and a Democrat, and not even knowing who the hell I am because of what I put out. And all I could do is shake my head and say, you can't save everybody. You know, some people are going to have to be shown, and you're still being shown, and you're still in denial because of you worshiping the beast. They made an image of him.
From a historic trip to Europe and the Middle East, I addressed a summit of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders, a unique meeting in the history of nations, where key players in the region agreed to stop supporting terrorism, whether it be financial, military, or even moral support. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism.
Y'all heard that?
At a very high level.
That's out of his own mouth. So why would you go take a plane from a freaking terrorist organization that you're saying right here on the microphone? Wow, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it raises a lot of concerns for his safety and for anybody else's safety on that aircraft.
Funder of terrorism at a very high level. Funder of terrorism at a very high level.
Okay. You just heard that. I don't have to play the rest. That was the point I wanted to make right there on that. Shut that. Here he is today. How tall is this guy?
Yeah.
What's funny is here in Texas, we're having issues with Christians. They're scared of Muslims, and they're saying that they're still pushing that Sharia law narrative, and they're going to cut everybody's heads off bullshit. When these people have had mosque in my communities forever, they're peaceful people. They're not anything like the media tries to and tries to portray them to be. Are there bad apples? Yes, just like the Christians. Do they mutilate the certain thing? Do they do? There's extremist Muslims and there's extremist Christians. There's on both sides, and we all got to look at our own yard and clean it up. But they're trying to target mosque. Well, here in Texas, we have freedom of religion, just like any other place. Right? Go look at the Texas Constitution. Governor Greg Abbott is in violation of that. Now, if they come to find out that something is being done illegal, that's one thing. But when you violate somebody's right to worship as they please, then there's a problem. You can't call this a Christian nation or a Muslim nation or any kind of religious nation, because we all have freedom of religion. So this isn't a Christian nation. This isn't any of those religious nations. We all have the freedom to worship, whether you're a Satanist, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, a Jew, whatever. Because if you allow the PSYOP propaganda to have you go at the Muslims for setting up a community, trying to like what Mike opened with, the communities. So when everything crashes, you can't help your own people. Then guess what? When it comes time for you to set up the community, guess what? Your constitutional rights aren't going to be respected. They're going to block it.
They sure aren't. Yeah, and that's truth be told, that's the question: will Trump be back? And the answer is no. He's going down with the ship. That's obvious. I mean, there's no way they're going to let him continue as he's trampled all over the Constitution in the last year, and before. Okay, and it is absolutely what Sheepdog just talked about, which is why I brought up the kids while Sheepdog was coming back on. You know, our communities is what's going to suffer, not just as individuals. Our communities are already suffering. There's homelessness and hunger, hungry children in every community in the country. Okay, unless you're an elite community, right? And then you still have homelessness filtering into some of those communities, right? But
Yep.
We will be crippled as a people if we continue to not stand up for our rights. It doesn't matter who the hell it is.
Exactly. That's the point. You're being set up, and you don't even realize it because because of your prejudice. Hold on.
In the Saudi kingdom. His first
After 9/11, everyone was blaming, a bunch of Muslims that hijacked some planes, and not realizing CGI came into effect, wag the dog type scenario. We killed 2,000 people died on 9/11 in New York, and another million something Muslims were innocent Muslims were murdered by our military, and that's something that I feel like shit for, because I was propagandized into thinking that it was them, when in fact it was the Mossad, Israel, and other deep state actors, McCain, No Name McCain, etc., that played a part in all this stuff, But it's the greatest sting operation in American history, in the history of the world. Who is it? The Zionists, DOJ, DOD, NSA, FBI, big religion, big tech, big pharma, big media, the Uniparty, the right-wing media, WEF, the Fed, the UN, the CIA, Doge, and MAGA. We see right here. Let me make sure I'm getting all this. Where's it at? Let me go up. So that's what we're trying to tell the people, even though you can call us what you want, but at least we have the balls to tell you regardless. But here's another example of two mortal enemies, CNN and Fox, right? Governor, this is Ambassador Mike Huckabee. He's the ambassador to Israel. Guess who was our dinner date guest tonight? It may shock some folks, but Van Jones and I have been friends for a long time. Don't agree on a lot, but agree on support for Israel. I truly cherish our friendship. Look at him smiling. But y'all can't come together like that. But they are. They're united for one cause. Right? Kash Patel. This is the original photo of Kash Patel. Does that look like Kash Patel to you? So when we say this is a high-level script and there's actors, there's the original Kash Patel, because nobody knew who he was before this, right? I know I didn't. Wait till you see the next one I'm about to show. Y'all heard of James O'Keefe, right? Columbine shooter Dylan Killaboy, pictured in a yearbook photo right here on the left. Remember the Columbine shooting? James O'Keefe. He said his life was in danger, but then he was DJing the 24 hours later in Miami with like a vest on. Remember he said he recorded Pam Bondi. He said his life may be in danger. So people are saying he's an op. Well, here it is. Well, then you go and look at Dylan. He's got a damn actor's thing, just like all the other actors. I am DB. He was born 9/11, 1981. What are the odds? And apparently he died 4/20, 1999. Crazy, right? Here we go. RIP. The 2,996 Americans is probably even more than that who died in 9/11, and RIP. The 1,455,590 innocent Muslims who died during the U.S. invasion for something they didn't do. So people are stuck on the fact that you think that Muslims came over here and did that, and that's not the case. And I'm not saying there ain't some involved in the mix, but it's not what you think. Again, everyone is arguing which party they want in control, right? Well, I'm trying to figure out why people in a free country want to be controlled. Am I still good? Check, check. Hello. Mike.
Yeah, my mic was frozen. I got you now. What was up? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
All right. So police can't even obey their own laws because this is a U.S. flag code violation for U.S. Code 8. Respect the flag for flag. The flag should never have placed upon it, nor any part of it, nor attached to it any mark, insignia, letter, word, figure, design, picture, or drawing of any nature. They blacked it out because we're a captured operation. And Rod Hayes put that out just the other night about their position and as the police being an occupier. And here they are flying this on the side of everything. Everybody's got it flying out in their front yards, and you're flying a U.S. flag code. This is almost worse than burning your flag. It's the equivalent of burning the flag. But nobody talks about it except for the veterans. I talk about it all the time. Been putting it out for a long time. You're breaking your own laws.
Right on. Yankee Ward, that's a good question. The plane that he just received represents a timeline, from what I understand, from a decode. I don't fully believe in the whole decode, but the other three are going to disappear when the timeline collapses. So that's how it's all going to go down. One's going to go down in the public sphere, and then the other three are going to go down when the timeline collapses. Go ahead, Sheepdog.
Yeah, I don't know if we showed this, but here is the State Patrol, Pennsylvania State Highway Patrol, State Police, had the same uniform as Nazi Germany. They didn't change the uniform. I don't know if we covered this, but here you got the same style uniform.
Yeah, we showed it on the last show.
Oh, okay. All right, then I need to go down. Yeah. But hey, Trump signed an executive order protecting gas stoves. Go ahead. Go sit down, girl. So we went over the fact that about the foreign emoluments clause, receiving gifts. You can't receive any gift over $500 without. You can receive souvenirs and stuff like that, but when it comes to gifts like a $400 million jet, the DOD, and then you're thinking you're going to have the president in it, not good. First off, let's just focus on that. Think about that part of it, that this could be a setup for something like that to take place, a down plane that could get us into maybe another war, false flag or whatever, kind of like the JFK thing where they took the bubble off of his Lincoln. Remember, he had a bubble on it, and then that day he didn't have the bubble on the Lincoln, and they were able to assassinate him. He should have questioned it then whenever that was taking place. So that's kind of what we're doing now, is questioning now before that takes place. I also noticed that there's different scenes. This is what's being passed around. It's obviously looks like a doctor It's a doctored image. Right there. If you go and look at today's meeting with Qatar, this picture, none of these pictures were in the back. Somebody doctored this video and made this guy look like the devil, and it's going around on Telegram. And they're pushing it. They're trying to make whatever. Now, this may be what really took place, but what I seen from three different channels, this picture was not even nowhere to be seen. So I wanted to point that out. But then I looked at Reuters and Washington Post, and they're sharing that picture as well. What am I saying? I screenshotted them. I'm gonna pull up what the mainstream media showed today. I posted them in other channel. Was having a discussion with other people, trying to wake them up. But they're stuck in the psyop of rods of God and stuff like that. And hold on, let me show you. This is what I got right here. Came in here, had a conversation right here, and I provided the proof of what I found because it didn't match this video that was being shared. And the narrative is that they were trying to poison Trump with some drink or whatever, but yet he was shaking everybody's hands from the videos I've seen and news stations. Let's see if this loads. Okay, here we go. This is what's they're saying. Let's go. Trump gave the hand sign, right? And I'm like, he's been doing that for years, and that's the big club, right? Even the ABC host we showed you the other day is also doing the same hand sign, upside down pyramid. This is what I seen. No devil picture behind him. That's another picture. No devil sign in the background. I found this is what I seen today when I watched the meeting live. You can see no devil pictures back there, but yet they're passing around the fact that, which is, here's the one I got right here. No devil picture back there anywhere in this room. But this is what they're passing around. See that? Totally different. Not the same scene, not the same picture. Nothing. So be careful what you share. Don't just share things. You need to check it and make sure, especially when you have a picture like this. Who would paint a picture like that and put it right there with a big red hand with the thing, making him look like Satan, right? Remember, Netanyahu and them didn't like the fact that they were having this meeting. This could be Israeli agents pushing propaganda on us, trying to make them look like a certain way, when in reality it was just like this. That's it. You see right here, I screenshotted breaking news and it showed it. There's no picture from what I can see. Now, if it was there, then what we have is somebody's manipulating our news cycle, and we're seeing everybody's getting a different view of what really took place. So you really have to go look into these things instead of sharing out these clips, pushing a narrative like the military, Space Force, rods of God narrative, et cetera, which is old stuff that we shared probably a few years back, but we've since moved on past that because it doesn't serve us, and especially waking people up, which we're not going to be able to do anymore. We're already past that point. Everyone's going to have to be able to see it for themselves as we move forward. But I'm seeing people just sharing things out these Telegram channels that aren't true, especially the videos. And Bezos owns, because I asked who owns the Washington Post, because the Washington Post put that out right here with that same photo, and I was like, dude, that's not what I seen right here. Wait, where's it at? Oh, so Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. If you've heard Caroline Levitt always referring to the Washington Post. It's owned by Bezos. But the Washington Post is putting out this picture in their article, which is fake. That's not what really took place. So we're having an issue with Washington Post. Reuters also used that picture. This picture right here, Reuters used it, Washington Post. I think they're pushing propaganda. Again, which is legal but not lawful. Yeah, here it is, Washington Post. You see that in the picture in the back? That's not what was in today's videos of what I seen. Y'all can go check it out. Tell me if you can find a video with this actually in the back, please send it to me. But the Washington Post used this picture and said Saudi Prince welcomes Trump to Riyadh. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman welcomed President Donald Trump to Riyadh to a traditional coffee welcoming ceremony on May 13th. So that's today's date, right? But the picture isn't correct compared to what I've seen. So I just wanted to bring that to people's mind, bring that to your attention, that there's a lot of fake news being shared out. You got to verify the sources, verify what you're seeing, so that you don't get fooled into some things. Like another one of the things was that Trump was going to make an announcement that that they were going to recognize maybe Palestine as a state. Well, that went out through the Jerusalem Post. Well, the Jerusalem Post redacted that story after it went viral and changed the headline to maybe that's what he might do. So everybody got excited thinking that was going to take place. It's not what took place as of right now. I'm not saying it won't, but if that does happen, all hell's going to break loose with Israel because they're the real terrorist state. So I think that was more of a trolling thing taking place. But here's some other video. This is really weird. I don't know, man. Either I'm getting the wrong feed or whatever, but I'll show you the clips that I got. But here's a little small short clip. Maybe this is in a different room. I don't know. But the room that I seen, I didn't see none of that. So maybe it did happen. But just be aware. Where's my clips? Because I also I'll show you what I see on the news so I added my clips right here. I put my links with my screenshots because I seen a whole different scene. Let's see if this opens. There we go. I watched the whole hour video and I didn't see none of it.
Today, 15 pivotal panel discussions and focused dialogue.
Maybe this isn't the one.
The journey of transformation, Saudi.
Let's go over here. Let's get the other one. 1, 2, 3. Let's see this one. There's a lot of CGI going around, a lot of different, everyone's getting a different, because there's propaganda being shared out overseas and here.
Today, 15 pivotal panel.
Don't tell me I posted the same one twice.
Please welcome His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, and the 45th.
Well, that's the same clip twice. Damn it. Well, oh, this one might be it. Here we go. Because I got to show you what I'm seeing. All right, here we go. As you can see right here, even this is different. There's 3 different pictures. There's 3 different scenes.
The president has said he wants to drum up some business there and says he wants to tackle multiple crises and conflicts across the region. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports.
Good day from Riyadh, where President Trump is beginning what will be a multi-country trip, the first extensive overseas travel of his second term. And here in Saudi Arabia, much of the agenda is on business and economic development. The president meeting with the Crown Prince, effectively the leader of Saudi Arabia today. And
again, see it right here. There's no picture of the devil different than
many of the top officials here, and business development is on the agenda. The president also having American business leaders here.
He had Elon Musk with him, of course.
Be talking about wanting Saudi investment in the United States. That is really a way where the president bringing his businessman background to the international stage.
So are they really selling us out to foreign countries after they destroyed small businesses, or what? Are you now allowing these people with all the billions and trillions of dollars to invest here, but yet you don't have the money to invest in your own country? You're seeking it from foreign nations. People should be pissed off at the fact that small businesses were destroyed and they haven't returned for the most part, some of them.
He has had a good relationship with Saudi, and we expect
right
that
here
will
again, you see where they were sitting. Picture right there. I don't see the picture that everybody's sharing. There's
really pressure the kingdom to do more to invest in the United States and to buy military equipment and to build on that relationship.
See, they want to buy military equipment, small arms, stuff like that. That's what this is about. Real estate.
But beyond business, we also expect that the president and the crown prince and officials here will talk about regional issues that are always hotspots in the Middle East before he goes on to Doha and to the United Arab Emirates. Of course, the president is also...
See, again, you see him with the hands. He's always doing that. Some people keep saying that Space Force, but we've seen the ABC host with the downward pyramid and Eric Trump and all of them with the same pyramid, and they're calling this the tip of the spear, yada, yada, yada. Military, with no picture here in this one. Maybe a different room. This is really
concerned about some of the regional issues and spoke by phone with the newly released American hostage who had been held by Hamas since the Israeli war in Gaza. And so the president will be focusing on a range of these issues while he is on the world stage in a way where he will be selling the American brand and to some degree the Trump brand as well.
He's selling the Trump brand as well. Real estate deals. Like I said, it's business as usual right now, according to what we're seeing. The military industrial complex still trying to sell guns overseas, stuff like that. Weapons.
Kelly O'Donnell traveling with the president in Riyadh.
And today.
And that should be it. I just wanted to point that out, how there's different scenes, different stuff going around. Because we just share things without checking into it. Yeah, I can't. Susan, yeah, you see that? They constantly do it to let everybody know it's one big club and you ain't in it. By the way, it's the same big club to beat you upside of the head every day, telling you what to think, what to buy. Right? Yeah, it's the hand symbols. They all do it. Yeah, the background CGI, yeah. I'm thinking CGI is in play here as well with some of these scenes. It's because they all changed. I see 3 different scenes now. They may end up being in a different room. I don't know, but if this is old footage, if he even made the trip, nobody even knows. Like, did it really even happen? We can't tell, because they're still running their propaganda on us and CGI and the PSYOP. All right. Here we got Greg Abbott. Texas has halted any construction of Epic City. There is no construction taking place, but the state of Texas, I think it's 400 something acres. Yeah, 400 acres. The state of Texas has launched about a half dozen investigations into this project. That includes criminal investigations, and the U.S. Department of Justice is also investigating. So, guys, when you go to start a community and you get 400 acres, you're going to have problems. You have the right to do it, but if they don't agree with your religion or whatever, then they're going to violate it. See, it says Islamists are still building their Sharia law 400-acre city. How is it a Sharia law 400-acre city?
Right.
So you got everybody here. Texans need to be aware. Islam does not assimilate.
No.
You see what I'm saying? The propaganda that's being portrayed, and Governor Greg Abbott is in violation of their constitutional rights, even in the Bill of Rights. You can see how they're targeting them and their beliefs. And we can go right here. Freedom of worship. All men have a natural and indefeasible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience. No man shall be compelled to attend, erect, or support any place of worship, or to maintain any ministry against his consent. No human authority ought, in any case, whatever, to control or interfere with the rights of conscience in matters of religion, and no preference shall ever be given by law to any religious society of mode of worship, but it shall be the duty of the legislator to pass such laws as may be necessary to protect equally every religious denomination and the peaceable enjoyment of its own mode of public worship. You got religious services protections. This state or a political subdivision of this state may not enact, adopt, or issue a statute, order, proclamation, decision, or rule that prohibits or limits religious services, including religious services conducted in churches, congregations, and places of worship in this state by a religious organization established to support and serve the propagation of a sincerely held religious belief. So what's funny is he's worried about Islam, but he's sending your money to Israel. $4 million of their property tax money from San Marcos, Texas, went to Israel. I was in San Marcos when 9/11 happened, so I have a little attachment to that. So it's kind of funny that this is taking place there. So Greg Abbott is concerned with Islam, but he's not concerned with Israel. Ain't that a damn shame? And we know that Israel does not like Islam, and they have their beef in the Middle East, and they're bringing it here in our state. But everyone's religious rights are protected. But when we have the Governor Abbott interfering with that, he is in violation of his oath of office, and Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, should be acting accordingly. But they're all in on it, so that's it. Just try not to fall in with this propaganda. If they're having you hate another, you can tell it's a psyop when they have you wanting. Pushing hate towards another group of people. That's a psyop. Because we know we all go to Walmart, we all go to grocery stores, we don't have any issues in public. But when it comes to this, for some made up reason we're supposed to hate certain groups of people. But like I said, we all live in peace right now amongst each other, and there's no issues except for when it comes to the these people, the shadow government pushing all this division, and because house divided cannot stand. And they know that. And Muhammad and Jesus were considered brothers or cousins, not by blood, but by faith, because they both recognized each other as prophets. Muhammad also recognized Islam talks more about Jesus than Christians do. You'd be shocked. And they recognize him as the prophet. And so Muhammad was just carrying that on after Jesus' teachings. Go look it up. I shared that with somebody last night in one private conversation. We were talking about they were asking about Islam, and mutilating genitalia. And I said, Christians do the same thing to their kids as well, right? You can go on CBN. There's Christian mothers that are having issues with their kids transitioning. So we're doing the same thing, right? So when you fear somebody else, you got to look in your own backyard and you look at it and you go, oh my God, yeah, you're right. We do have our issues. Yeah. So, but there are 4 types of people you will meet in your life, right? The people who try to wake up the slaves, the slave master, the people who have no idea they're slaves, and the people who like being slaves. Which one are you? And that's all I got. Oh, this one's a good one. When people are like, hey, background checks and psych screenings for any citizen who wants to buy or carry a gun, right? That's what they want y'all to do. I want to be like, how about background checks and psych screenings for trigger-happy cops who carry guns 24/7 and kill thousands of Americans each year? Can we have that?
Wow.
Yeah. There's no psych evaluations. I watch a lot of body cam footage, so I see a lot of crazy ass people out there, man, that have a badge and a gun, and they should not be on the streets. Not all, but most.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of them are inoculated in their training, and they don't even know it. Much like a lot of the military rank and file. They've been the military rank and file folks. I don't know how them people even are surviving. The vets, TBI is a very real thing right now, in a huge kind of way, and a lot of it was caused by the military brass, right? And line up and take this shot and don't ask what it is. You just got to take it. Time and time again. Programs, you weren't told what you were going there to do, but you fulfilled the program, which was indoctrination into these secret training programs. All military. I have a friend who trained in Germany into a Zionist Christian program in the military. How did we find out? Because it was in his record. And when we found the record, we were able to look it up and dig down the rabbit hole. And their hope was to spit out all these Zionist leaders through this military program, and that was being carried out in Germany. They called it a leadership initiative. I can't tell you on air what the name of the program was just yet. For one, I don't have the notes in front of me from it, but it was really crazy how we found it, and then we were able to confirm it with not just him, but several others. And you know it. They went when they in the 50s and 60s, when they started doing not just the military rank and file, but they started doing us in our homes too. They had the ability to scrape our dreams back then. All right. And the Y2K was when they put us all on the cloud. Okay. And they said the world was going to end because of it. Right. And that's how they scared us and feared us into bringing in the technocracy and add to it 9/11 for multiple different reasons, multiple different angles. 9/11, right? Yes. In other words, Susan, they could scrape your dreams. They could literally send an airship across your home and scrape your dreams. Whatever dreams you were having, they had an airship that was capable of pulling whatever dreams you were having at the time out when they went across.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've seen a drone over my neighbor's house at 4 a.m. one time.
Yep. The drones are much more economical than they were in the 40s when they were doing that. Why? Because we have the Wi-Fi router right in our home now.
Yep.
You know,
and your phone next to you.
And your phone next to you. Absolutely.
The Bluetooth technology, stuff like that. Yeah, Susan, if you go look into it, you'd be better served on that topic.
Yeah. Yeah, Susan, don't fear though. Okay, because one, positivity and vibration growth, increase in frequency, that higher vibration, that higher frequency is climbing Jacob's ladder, okay? And you're able to defeat their ability to affect you by approaching you through the Wi-Fi and the molecular communication, even through your Fitbits, all of that stuff. But it takes a high rate of energy to sustain that. So when you're in your home, folks, and you're not using Wi-Fi, unplug it, please. Unplug it, just unplug it. All right. If you're going to sleep, you're not using Wi-Fi, unplug it. All right. It's the equivalent of having a couple of glasses of orange juice to your immune system. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's a huge shot. So, you know, our ability, the knowledge we're gaining right here, Susan, is what I'm trying to share with you, is how we defeat this. Okay, because it can sound like it's, you know, we're never going to beat them, but we've already beat them. All right, we just have to walk it out. We have to walk it out, whether that's in the spirit realm, which is first and foremost, going within and building that relationship with the one prime source creator, the creator of all things.
So I think tonight will be probably the last time I really cover this Trump thing. I got to get on other topics that better serve the community. I'm wasting my time. I just did a lot of it just to get y'all over the hump and what's coming, and to not idol worship and not put a crown on somebody else and try to obtain your crown. But I'm going to cover some more topics in the future. It's not going to be about this politics shit anymore, especially the Trump shit show and all that, and Pam Bondi, unless something breaks like major. We're going to try to focus on the community stuff that better serves us.
Absolutely, which is the children and our communities. Our communities coming together, because the collapse is imminent, folks. It's not obvious yet, but it's imminent. Make no mistake, it's going to happen. Everything you once knew is about to be shut off. When it comes to government, municipalities, all of it, it's about to be shut off. Okay? It's going to be we the people, and we got work to do. And we can do it. We're capable. We're capable. I will show you one last thing, okay? This is a refresher. This is a refresher for you right here. We have it in a PDF in the Telegram channel. So let me go over here. Right here, there's a commitment to your own sovereign capacity, okay? people are putting this out all over social media. They're in the blank space there. They're putting their name, their living human name, right? Not they're all caps. Okay. I blank in my sovereign capacity agree with and support the caretakers of the land, water, and the skies according to universal law and divine birthright to call forth the chief caretakers of the land on the land to be seen walking on the land in answer to the great writ of habeas corpus now in public domain in full agreement. Yeah. That is our commitment and our call to action that comes from Chief Pontiac and all the tribes that are on the land that are awake and understand what it is. Okay. Crystal Epps is doing a good job bringing out a lot of the maps, the tribal nations of Mississippi she's showing here in this video, the Winterville Mounds right there, okay, and so on and so forth, okay. It's a really good quick video, and she has more. She has more over on TikTok. But this call to action right here is about jurisdiction, okay? Because the way they have this is, say we let Trump, without voicing our opinion anymore about Trump and the plane, right? Which we've said enough here tonight. Others need to say it as well. But so we let that happen, then we have kicked the can ourselves, and have not said anything or done anything about it, even though we know it's wrong just because it's Trump. Well, that's why we spoke about it in depth tonight, because our commitment is to the people and to the children, to our children first and foremost. All right, in our communities, coming together to bring about the change and enacting the system, the new systems, okay? Decentralized banking, decentralized public affairs, decentralized civics, okay? All based off we the people in a community as they come together. And I could go on and on. We've been at it for quite a while now. Let me stop here.
4 hours.
4 hours. I can go on and on. I mean, we could go another couple hours because there's still plenty of material. I mean, I know I wore a hole in Sheepdog's ear today.
Yeah.
You know, transparency is great, folks, but it has to come with truth. Okay, you should have learned a little bit about that transparency piece with the Doug and Stacy video where they broke down Casey Memes and Callie Memes' real agenda and their lobbyist approach to squandering, you know, in the public sphere, the ability to shut the jab down right away. Instead, they want to throw bureaucracy at it, right? And see if they can keep it extended the way they want it extended, where their children are not subject to it, but ours are, because that's what it was leading to. And much more, and much more. This is about our children. The next 7 generations and beyond are the ones that are going to set the tone for what the Bible has in it, so to speak, moving forward into this new age. With that being said, we love each and every one of you. We hope you have a great night. Thank you for spending so much time with us this evening. And we're by no means laying down. We're going to be here. We're going to share with you. It's up to you to make it belong to you and work for you. Trust class update on Thursday, folks. I will do the best I can to be in position to have a show tomorrow night, as I am out of town with family. Absolutely. And remember, unity and divinity leads us to sovereignty. Okay. There's no more racism. There's no more, none of that stuff. It's all dead. Don't let it be a part of your life anymore. No more institutionalized propaganda that causes division and hate. Love you all. Have a good night.
Good night.
Crack, my hands may shake, but when I speak, a truth won't break. Clouds roll in, shadows high. I stand tall, won't step aside. Lightning strikes, fire in my chest.